Oh yeah, I remember him doing that. That's oh man, yeah. Got a lot to talk about. Got to catch it from last week too. What did you guys talk about last week again? I'm trying to remember because I made the thumbnail for it. Was it a Godzilla X Kong?
Silver Surfer.
Oh yeah,
the Cassian Silver Surfer. Yeah, that was one. Supergirl, Matrix 5.
Oh yeah, Matrix. Why? That's my question. Why? I recently rewatched the first one because my wife hadn't seen it before, and I had no idea, and so we had to watch that with a friend. And yeah, gosh,
the first one has so much rewatch value too.
It really does, and even like, because what year did it come out? Like 1998, 99, and still like it feels like it could have easily come out like maybe a couple of years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
It still just holds up so incredibly well. It's honestly kind of ridiculous.
Of the trilogy, that's definitely the one I revisit the most. The third is not so much, but
I like the second one a lot. I think the second one gets
second one was good.
Second one gets a little too much hate.
It definitely gets a lot of hate for the Mr. Smith, all the Mr. Smiths coming in. That's where I think a lot of the hate comes in.
Oh yeah, because they tried to do a whole lot with CGI. And it did not work.
No, it didn't.
Rubber people galore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. But yeah, no, like I do like the second one too. I remember there was wasn't there a video game of the second one where it was like one that was like kind of a spin-off of the second one?
They actually did four video games for the Matrix world. And then they did the Animatrix, the animated film.
Right.
So in total, they've done 9 total
on the
items.
PlayStation 2, they had Matrix Path of Neo, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that one. Enter the Matrix, where you play as Niobe and Ghost.
Right. Yeah, I think that was for the Xbox, and I had that one for a bit.
I played that on PlayStation 2.
Yeah. I've been getting back to PlayStation 2. I was playing a little bit of Rygar yesterday, and God of War, the first one. Man. Those games are the best. Late says the White Rabbit.
What up?
What is up, man? Joining us last second. How you been doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, I was late because I was watching X-Men. So I got home from work. I was like, I didn't get to talk about it last week, so I was like, well, I'll watch it before the show. So,
well, you're doing better than me. I haven't caught up with you yet. I still have watched the first episode. I need to.
Actually, this one was actually. I mean, I liked the second half. The second half was really good. First half was kind of drawn, boring, whatever. But first half was. I mean, second half was. I like how it escalated. So that's cool.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about this latest episode. By the way, I see that BVS picture behind you. How big is that behind you?
That 27 by 27 by 44.
Mm-hmm. Dang.
Regular. It's regular poster size. So
yeah.
So yeah,
nice. Love it. Always love to see that.
Yeah, thanks. I'm gonna try to get a printer. I'm gonna try to print it myself because it's just way too expensive to buy it from a company. And then
because you're just doing it on like canvas or like
it's printing on canvas. So it's a digital, it's a digital painting basically. And then of course, I got it printed on canvas, and I got this Daffy printed on canvas too.
Have you ever considered printing on acrylic?
No. I just the only reason why I did is I have paintings in the house and they're all on canvas. So I was like, canvas. But yeah, no, I definitely I'm looking into like getting a large format printer, which are pretty expensive, but got my tax returns. So I'm going to see if I can do something like that to sort of buy something to invest, in myself. So instead of just, hey, kind of squandering the money, that's in the bank, usually that's what, happens when you get your tax return. You just kind of like, you'll pay bills or you'll pay something that's maybe outstanding or, something comes up or whatever, or it'll just slowly diminish over time. Yeah. And you just kind of lose it. And you're like, well, where'd all that money go? So instead of that, I was like, you know what? I should buy something that can make me money. So
yeah, not a bad
Make
idea.
sure you got the right space for it and power supply for it too. You definitely want to be.
I do have space. but yeah, I've been looking at like Epson.
But do you have time?
Do I have time? No, I don't have. I barely have. Oh my God. So, and that's one of the things I was talking to Andre, a bit ago, and some other people, as well, because they were asking me like, I don't stream. I just don't stream anymore. I don't even put up shorts. I don't do, because I'm spending all my time drawing this comic.
Yeah.
And so all of my time is taken on that. And I'm like, I want to get on a stream and just kind of like draw, but then sometimes I'll get distracted with, reading the comments and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, okay, I'm not really as productive as I am when I'm just isolated and listening to music and just kind of going, and so, yeah, I'm done drawing on the comic. I'm looking up. Okay. So I'm working on with Clip Studio Pro, or Clip Studio X. And I'm not as familiar with that as I am with Adobe, which is what I painted that on. I painted that in Daffy with Adobe, and I'm just really used to it because I've been using it since 2001. Yeah. So I got this other one in, the Clip Studio, and it's a really great software. It's just I'm kind of a noob at it, so I'm just like watching a lot of tutorials and trying to figure out how to do things and how it works and how to create panels and panes and how to and how to basically. The one thing that I need to do is better organization of my stuff, which is I suffer for that, with Adobe as well, but just kind of categorizing everything. And so, yeah, that's kind of difficult. So, but anyway, it's a fun experience, and I can't wait to be kind of done with it. It's a 16-page comic. Usually I saw that floppies are like maybe roughly about 22 pages, but I was like, man, I don't want to force more story if I don't have to. I don't want to kind of add fluff or add stuff that just, who cares? I just want to tell something that's like, okay, here it is. This is what it is. I hope you like it, even though it's a little bit shorter than most things, because it's my first time out. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to go, 90-page epic, just long form story. I have a long form story. I just want to tell it in pieces.
Oh my God! Wow! Oh my God!
Oh, come on.
There you go.
Well, what you could do is, as you progress, let's say like on 3 or 4 pages, then have a stream and take your audience through how you came to those conclusions, how you put things together. So that way you're not focusing on actually doing the drawing. You can then focus on your chat and then focus on just taking them through what your process is.
Right. It's always best. And I find even with some of the drawing stuff, it's always best to it's always best when I do a recording afterward. I just talk about it instead of trying to go through it as because I back a couple years ago when I did live drawing streams or whatever, I'd go back and be like, man, it's just you're not as informative when you're just sort of in the mix and just drawing and paying attention. It's always best to this is why I made this decision. This is why I went back and did this, because you have time to kind of reflect on it.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. But kind of going back to the page count thing, you see a lot of these comics from 20 to 25 pages, but there's also several advertisement pages in there in the mix. So you really think about it, your comic's pretty much, par for the course as far as length is concerned. So
the only thing I'm going to have on there is that's not story. Is a thank you page. I'll have that on, and then I don't know what to do on the back of the comic. And I've been looking, it's just looking at a lot of indie comic stuff, and it's like, don't waste any page, whether it's cover, inside, cover, back cover, or very back of the comic itself. Just always put something there. There's a lot of people that just put blank, just like a black sheet of paper or whatever, and you're paying for that, so you might as well add art to it, or add something to it, add information, add something to it that helps either you or your people that helped you out or whatever. And so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
nice.
Not a bad idea. Real quick, let's see who all is in the chat. We got Chris. What's up, Chris? Saying hello, 4Nerds. We got the Movie Raider saying, what's up, guys? What do y'all think of the reports that Nia DaCosta is set to direct the second installment in the new 28 Years Later trilogy? Jodie Comer is also reported to star. I mean, I like both the 28 Days and 28 Weeks later
I like
movies.
The first one better.
Yep. Yeah, the first one is definitely better, for sure.
Hey, we got Nerd Costa Nostra in the house. What's up?
What's up?
Who's that guy? Who's
Yeah,
that guy? He's right here. By the way, we got Phil, Sean, Ryan, whichever direction.
What's up?
Got everybody here, except for Andre. He had to deal with some family stuff, make sure people aren't staying sick. Chris here says, are you guys reading the new Spawn series called Rat City? I've heard about it. I've seen a lot of art about it.
I haven't seen it.
Nope.
But I haven't been picking up new comics lately because we're in the process of figuring out moving. But I did get this as a gift. Good old Spawn Al Simmons figure.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, with a bunch of different guns on there. Action figures don't do that anymore. I'm debating whether or not to take this out of the box because like the plastic is like really tainted yellow.
Mm-hmm.
But like I kind of want to keep it in the box too. But
Mitten package.
Yeah.
Keep
But I also like to display things like I'm leaning towards not opening it, but
Maybe someday if you come across another one where the plastic isn't so yellowed,
what was that?
get that and then open this one.
Yes.
I said again, it kind of blacked out for me. My internet's like acting up for me right now.
I did see that you were freezing a couple times, but lag or whatever, but it's fine. I mean, your audio's fine.
Yeah.
So if you come across another one where the plastic isn't so yellow and you're able to pick that one up and then open up this one.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because like I was looking at the ones like they were showing it to me and they like gave me one of these and this is the one that had like the best face paint job. The other ones were a little like cross-eyed. This one like actually looks normal. So I was like, yeah, like let's do that one. They're like, okay, sweet, here you go. So, but yeah, I have another of that classic like Spawn series of figures back there with where Spawn has the big sword and the head of Malbolgia that he has holding up. That I also kept in the box because that box is actually like really good condition. So
yeah,
definitely
Spawn's a hot thing right now, especially with those figures. I would definitely keep it in package if you can.
Yes, absolutely. And this is like back in like the early 2000s. That's when that one came out. So it's
whatever happened with that contest that you were in for.
Let me vent about this for a second.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not mad. I figured I wasn't going to be a winner. So like, I'm not disappointed by that part. But here's the thing. When Todd McFarlane came out and talked about the contest, one of the implication was no AR art allowed for now is how they worded it, which is weird. So anyway, as it was the contest was supposed to end at the end of January 31st. They're supposed to announce the winners of the contest on the 1st of January. Well, they extended the deadline for it by like 2.5 weeks. And so people could, submit and everything. And then he came out and said, we're going to probably have about 20 to 40 winners, something like that, just because there's so many good installments, which made it better chances for me. But they ended up only choosing about 19 winners, which is weird. Just a weird number of winners to pick.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the winners that were shown or that were picked, like I looked through and they had some good stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, makes sense. There was one that was clearly AI. Clearly. And like you go to the guy's page, the winner of it, and all of his stuff like AI hashtags, AI everything, like all his pieces were like very clearly AI. And so like people saw that and ran it through like an AI recognition software, and everyone that did it got like 92 to 96% match for AI. Like it was very clearly it. And the guy like saying like, oh, like you guys are just jealous. And he tried. Here's the thing.
I saw those postings. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing. He tried claiming, I did this in Procreate. And I was like, funny thing about Procreate is that you can post a time lapse. It automatically saves it. So how about you just post the time lapse, take some of the heat off of you, and then prove people that you did indeed do it. But he's like, I don't have to prove anything. And like, I was trying to play like the nice guy at first. He's like, it's really sad that it's taking attention away from other artists and people that actually like, did a really good job. I was like, what's funny about that? You could solve that by posting the time lapse. But here's what he did instead. He had a series of pictures where he had the finished product. Then he had like the product over top of a layer of like general shapes, breaking it down to a bunch of triangles and circles.
Sure.
But the picture was of an organic looking creature. You don't draw an organic creature using a bunch of triangles. Don't do that.
Sure.
No one does that. It's a bunch of scribbles and like figuring out the shape and everything and breaking it down that way. Like the thing he drew was called the heap.
Okay.
And it's just like big old mass of like organic matter and it like has a face and a couple of skulls in it. Like you don't just draw a bunch of triangles and circles in that shape and then go from there. That's just not how that works. And so he didn't prove anything. And so a lot of people are pretty pissed and demanding that Todd McFarlane say something. He hasn't yet, and he's probably not going to. I'd be shocked if he did. And like for me, like it wasn't a week. Like the winner he got, or the AI guy, he won in a week of the contest that I didn't submit for. So like I'm not like petty about that. I'm not like mad about that specifically because like I wasn't going to win anyway, even if he was kicked out. But still, it's just like you said, no AI. This guy clearly used AI, and yet nothing's being done. So the entire art community that was behind Todd McFarlane is pretty pissed. The ones that are aware of that anyway. So that was fun to figure out. I've talked to a lot of friends of mine who are in the industry that they were talking about like, yeah, we've seen contests like this. And as soon as they saw it, we knew it was going to be trouble. So that was interesting. But yeah, so that was fun. I still have a bunch of my, well, I have one original pencil of one of the ones that I did. In fact, let me see if I actually have it right here. If I can pull it out. This is one that I was really proud of, but I submitted the inks for this. I inked it digitally. Let's see if I have it somewhere. There we go. Yeah, this piece right here.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
Really cool.
Yeah. So still have that. I had already sold the pencils for my gunslinger submission, which is pretty fun. Got to be able to send the customer a copy of a print as well as the original pencils, which is cool. Everything else I had done fully digitally. But anyway, aside from that rant aside, we have a couple things to talk about here today. I know, Ryan, you've been catching up with X97. I think, John, you've been watching that. And then Phil, again, I still have only watched episode 1, but I figured I kind of would let you guys kind of just go off about it because I've heard some really good things. And I'm not worried about being spoiled, so just the floor is yours.
Well, the last episode, last week's, the ones that I didn't get to talk about, Phil and Sean did, and Andre. I didn't like that one as much. It was okay. It felt like a filler episode. And the first part of this one was sort of a setup for this week. But I thought, like I said, when Cable came down, came from wherever, and met up with Gene, that's when the show got really interesting for me. I was like, oh wow, this is freaking awesome. I love Nightcrawler. So the minute he got on screen, I was like, oh hell yeah, this is awesome. I really dug it. I thought it was a really fire episode. I think that it's just a very interesting situation that they have to kind of figure out or whatever. And I like that it's not spoon fed. It's chaos, and you're like, oh crap, what the hell? This is, there's just so many moving parts and so many people, passing away or whatever. Gambit was awesome. The way they used his power was awesome. I still think the Magneto Rogue thing is weird, but that ended, so it's like, okay, cool, let's move on. But other than that, I mean, I liked everything I saw. I was like, this is pretty dope. So that's my review.
Nice about everybody else.
You want to go first, Sean?
No, you go ahead. Okay, no, you can go ahead.
Okay. I watched this episode really early this morning, and I was quite taken aback by choices made during this episode in a shocking good way. Like, number one, I was excited to see Nightcrawler. That was cool. Seeing him back. Going to Genosha, that was nice. It really just kind of felt like a reunion with a lot of older characters. It was interesting to see the Council of Genosha be headed by fucking Sebastian Shaw, Emma Frost, Moira McTaggart. Like there were I think Banshee too. I could be mismutanting there, but I'm pretty sure that was Banshee that had the yellow and green.
Oh, it was, yes, yellow and green. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So all that for me, like that was just an X-Men feast for an X-Men fan, because I was just pretty blown away. And then the whole Magneto Rogue thing, like having them courting Magneto to be the head of Genosha, and then his one condition is, okay, yes, I'll do it, but I want Rogue to be my queen. It was just like that's going to make things really awkward between her and Gambit. And then you get the inevitable conversation between Rogue and Gambit about their relationship. And it was fucking heartbreaking. Like having Rogue tell Remy, like, I can't physically touch you, dude. Like some things you just can't feel. And it's just like, fuck, man, that hurt. And then him being the one to save everyone in Genosha. The thing Magneto tried, don't get me wrong, like Magneto is a fucking boss, has been a boss through this whole fucking series for me. Like he's become arguably one of my favorite characters now because of this X-Men 97 iteration of the character. Like this is just absolutely spectacular what they're doing with Eric Magnus, whatever the fuck they decide to go call him by. But I love everything about this episode. It was fucking awesome. Madeline Pryor being also brought in as like a counselee of this show, like of Genosha. I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense too. She's a clone, she's a mutant, she's a telepath. It makes sense. Cool. And then like even seeing Cable pop up, I was like, oh fuck, Cable's here. How about that? And then like he gets to Madeline Pryor and he's like, Mom, I'm sorry. And then he gets fucking pulled through time. It's like, oh fuck, some shit's about to go down. And then the episode does an entire 360 of, yeah, you thought everything was nice and cool. No, we're gonna blow Genosha to high hell with a fucking it was the three-headed mastermind.
Yeah,
the three-headed mastermind, right? And then you've even got the stuff going on at the X Mansion where Cyclops is giving this really heartfelt fucking interview, but he gets really personal with it. And he basically kind of breaks down on live camera. And then him and Jean try and have a conversation. He essentially psychically has a conversation with Madeline Pryor. And it's like, dude, you kind of fucked up. But then Jean kind of fucks up when she's out and outside of the X Mansion in the water. And she's like trying to get control of herself again. And what does Logan do? Oh, he just, gives her the shoulder to fucking be leaning on.
What's up, girl?
What does she do? She fucking plants one on him. And I'm like, I have been waiting for that to happen for like years. And it finally happened. And I was just kind of like, oh, they went there. They did that thing. Well, to be fair, Scott, he didn't quite cheat on her, but he
was cheating for a month.
Right.
For a month, he was
he didn't know.
Months.
He wasn't like, this is great.
He knocked up Madeline fucking Pryor, dude.
No, he knew what he was doing. He knew that was not the real Jean. He knew that was the Madeline Pryor.
And it's because her eggs tasted different.
Scandalous.
Fucking insane, right? Like just it is amazing to me that the drama in this show is leaps and bounds better than half the drama on network fucking television. It's insane to me at how good and well written this season has been so far. I mean, the last episode, it was fine. I wouldn't call it great. I wouldn't call it terrible, but the first half was filler. The second half was absolutely like, we're setting Storm up to get her powers back. Okay, cool. Give me more of that. But also, it's also important to note that 2-part episode, and that's exactly what it was. It was a 2-parter in a single episode. It was reminiscent of the original TV show in that those episodes were like 22 minutes a piece. So getting 2 for 1, fuck, I'll take it. I don't care. And getting Jubilee and Sunspot action, yeah, it was cool. Getting the old Jubilee actress to basically pass the torch down, yeah, that was dope too. Was it like my favorite? No, not necessarily. But this episode, man, I don't know if I would put this at number 1 over the second episode. I'm not entirely sure because they're like fucking neck and neck for me. I really dug this episode a lot. And then Gambit being the one to sacrifice himself after Genosha just gets raided and torn to shit. Magneto giving the heroic sacrifice too. It's like, dude, Rogue didn't lose once. She lost fucking twice in this whole episode. And her emotion throughout all of this, fuck me, dude. This episode was fucking top tier. No wonder it's getting the amount of love and praise that it is. It was fucking top tier for X-Men 97. That's my take on it.
That's high praise.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
I'll echo a lot.
Is Genosha? I got a question real quick because I've been, since this episode, I'm like, is that something from the comics or is that a Disney thing? Because I remember,
it is 100%. I think from the comics.
Because don't they have Genosha or just variations of the name, like in that one movie with what's her name that was played Catwoman, Genosha or whatever, and then what was that one place that the Avengers Age of Ultron, what was that place called that they raised up?
Sokovia.
Okay. A different,
way different, way different.
So okay, cool. Yeah, I was just wondering because I was like, Genosha, I've heard that before. Cool. Okay, no, I was just curious.
You're probably thinking Geonosis from Star Wars.
Geonosis, yeah. Well, I mean, Disney now owns that, but not back then. The what's her name? that played Catwoman.
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry.
No. From Nolan.
Oh,
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
When she was a princess or whatever, or in training or some crap, and she was.
Oh,
what was the name of that place?
'Cause
I thought it was Genovia or
Are you
something.
talking about Princess Diaries?
No, was it?
No.
No.
I think it is Sokovia.
I don't
Is
think
it
so.
Sokovia? I get
know.
confused with all these names, kind of like closely sounding the same. I don't remember. It just Genovia, just sort of like kind of
Genovia,
resonated with-
Genovia.
Genovia. Oh,
Genovia.
there it is. Okay,
European Kingdom of Genovia.
okay, got it.
Genosha, Genovia. I mean, yeah, they sound pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
kind of took me out. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, is that a Disney place? They're just like using that or whatever.
Are they gonna bring Anne Hathaway in?
Like
the
Wakanda
X-Men?
and Zamunda? No.
Yeah, Genosha first came up in the Uncanny X-Men.
Okay.
Back in the late 80s.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been around for a minute.
Awesome.
I mean, as far as what Phil said, I mean, I'll echo a lot of what Phil said. So if I'll just quickly, since Ryan, since now you've seen episode 4, yeah, part 4, I think we're in agreement here, and even Andre and I, when we did the show, what was that on the 3rd? Definitely filler episode. The first 15 minutes, that's definitely filler. The last part, life death part 1, where they focused on Forge and Storm, we're gonna see that play out in the next episode. We obviously believe, because the next episode is called Life Death Part 2. So obviously at least half that episode next week will be focused on, will we see Storm get her powers back? Will Forge figure out how to get her powers back? Because he made that attempt in towards the end of episode 4, but it obviously didn't work out. Which then we also then got introduced to Adversary. I don't know if anyone picked up on that.
It's either that or it's the Shadow King.
Did y'all see the silhouette of the person in the sky when they were at Genovia, and there was a person there?
Oh, it was the Watcher.
The Watcher. There it is.
was the
I
Watcher.
figured that. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, it was the Watcher.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So as far as 5, yeah, I would. It's a pretty close to so far being my favorite episode. It did start off a little slow, but I understand why it started off slow to set up the climactic last 10-12 minutes of this. I don't think anyone expected Magneto to die, Gambit to die.
No.
Even a lot of the other I'll call them X-Men verse characters. I mean, we don't know if Emma Frost is dead. When Andre and I were doing the show, we speculated, because we didn't see her again after the explosion, that she could be dead. But someone in the comments mentioned, well, in the comics, this is where she finds out that she has diamond skin, and she eventually then joins the X-Men later on. So she survived in the comics, but we don't see that necessarily in the show yet. But they don't really show her again after the explosion.
I think also the implication here is that Madeline Pryor probably dies here.
Correct. Yeah, we that's what we came to the conclusion of, that she's dead. Yeah. So when Cable showed up, that was, we did not expect Cable to show up, because
why else would Cable show up
correct
to try and prevent? He was like, "Oh fuck, I'm too late. Sorry, Mom." And it's like, "Oh, what is this leading to?" And then you literally see the green flash, and it's like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah, like right before that, he gets pulled back to, we assume his current time.
Yeah.
As far as the whole Rogue, Gambit, Magneto thing. Yeah, I mean, Gambit's like, "Listen, girl, we're friends. Have fun. Peace out. Go be with Magneto." And we are led to believe that's going to happen when they're doing that dance as they're flying. Then she's like, "Don't want to be with you. I want to be with him." But then ultimately, when Magneto dies protecting the Morlocks, Rogue goes rage. She wants to avenge him, but then Gambit knows if she does, she's going to die. He sacrifices himself to save her. And then it was really heartbreaking, because that was the first time that she could touch him without hurting him, but he's dead, right? So they made a point to really hone in on that aspect, that she was able to do that. Now, as far as Wolverine was just swooping in. He saw an opportunity. He's like, he was coming in for scraps. Scott's been sneaking around. I agree. That's messed up. So what's your situation? And I think that I think we might see that maybe play out in episode 7, Bright Eyes. If we see, now this will be the next love triangle. Once Scott finds out that they've been making out.
I would laugh so hard if they pulled a modern comic spin on it, and they literally pulled from it's been done in the last 5 or 10 years, where they just make them a fucking throuple and that's it. like Wolverine and Scott just share gene, and they just leave it at that, and everyone's like, yep, this is a thing, we're fucking moving forward with it.
We got 2 wide-eyed people on this side of the screen. I don't see that playing out. Maybe not in this season.
Yeah, I don't think audience would take that very well.
Maybe
I don't know.
Season 2.
It's a 2024 is a different time than 1995. I'll just say
that. I guess, but still, the idea of like 2 guys sharing a girl, I don't think that's going to be received very well.
I don't know, man. Polyamory is becoming pretty popular.
But one of the things that Andre and I we spent some time on, and I know Andre, he's convinced that somewhere between the next 3-5 episodes, the X-Men will somehow find out who was responsible for this attack.
Oh, for sure.
Then they will go back in time and stop the attack from happening. And then the season will end on the consequences of who they found out was trying to do it, and then go from there.
The reason another snap.
Yeah, well, he's basically, and he's really kind of based this on a couple of things. One, Madeline Pryor, right before Cable showed up, Madeline Pryor and Jean almost had like this shock.
They had like an aneurysm
connection or something at the same exact time.
Bloody nose
shows up and then was there for a brief moment, gets swooped back into his own time. So he truly believes at some point we're going to see where he either comes back to get them back to their time, go back in time, stop this from happening, find out who did it, and then
they
fall out
don't,
from there. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to see any of that happen. I'm not convinced yet.
Since this is X-Men and they've done time travel more times than I can count in the original series as it is, I can absolutely see an episode dedicated to showcasing why Cable like I feel like Cable's the one who knows who fucking did it.
Absolutely. Well, he would. Correct. He would.
Right. So I feel like we're going to get an episode that's dedicated to him, like figuring this shit out, going back in time. And if not outright, like we're going to see him get thrown back to his initial time and be like, damn it, I fucked up. I have to go back.
That's what I explained to Andre, because if Cable comes back and whatever he does or helps them do, whatever he goes back to won't be the same. We have a whole Back to the Future situation here.
100%. They've done it before. They did it with Bishop in the original series, in season, throughout the entirety of it, honestly.
Because right now they would be dependent on either Bishop or Cable coming back and helping them, because Beast did not keep any technology that he had when he sent Bishop forward with Nathan, which is Cable. He fixed his bracelet. There you go. Go back to your time. Save the kid. Now, unless Forge comes up with something, or he has some design already made up, he just needs help putting it together to do time travel on their own. They don't need Cable or Forge's help. Then maybe, Cable or Bishop's help. Then maybe it's possible. But I'm not fully convinced that we're going to see this undone, the Genosha attack undone. I think that's going to be a set point in time. They're going to find out who did it, and then there will be fallout on those actions, because now Scott has no choice but to now take the leadership. He had it. He lost it. Yeah. Magneto's dead. Gamut's now dead. His girl's cheating on him. I mean, what else has this guy got to lose? And then he went on that Phil mentioned on that with the reporter.
Hey, what's going on, you guys?
Yeah, Mr.
Oh, golly. He's like, I gotta get on this show.
Look at you in the Iron Man's mansion.
Yeah,
Does he know you're there?
You downstairs.
Does he know you're there?
She doesn't know.
And then
I was like, I'm gonna go.
And with Scott Summers kind of losing his cool a little bit with the reporter, kind of showing that anger. I think that's only going to and that was early on. That was before everything else even happened. Before Jean stepped out on him with Wolverine. Before the attack. Before now he's being forced back into the leadership role. He's going to have a lot of and when he was totally against Nathan going with Bishop to the future, he was totally against that decision by Madeline Pryor, right? So he's either going to need to step up or step aside. And if he steps up, what version of him are we going to see? Are we going to see the heroic X-Men, or are we going to see a vengeful Cyclops because of everything he's been wrong thus far? But I'll let Andre, Mr. Time Travel here, throw out his theory. I was trying to explain your theory to them.
Andre's like, you
Yeah,
totally misrepresented what I was
That's
saying.
why he jumped on the
That's
show.
why he had to get
I-
on.
I-
He's like, "Oh, you're messing it up."
No, I was inside and she got on the phone with her mother. I was like, dude, I'm gonna go out there for a little while. She's like, yeah, it's fine. No, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's like it would all make sense. Well, I mean, there's kind of two ways to look at it. I mean, like a lot of what we saw in this last episode took inspiration from E is for Extinction. And like the master mold that has like multiple heads and how it attacks Genosha, is just wiping out hell of mutants. Like it was crazy. It was a crazy episode.
Definitely.
But what's that?
I said definitely.
Oh,
I was agreeing
but
with you. Definitely.
in E is for Extinction, the villain who was behind all this was Cassandra Nova. So
Oh fuck! That makes so much sense.
So
Oh,
is
God.
this going to lead
Oh.
directly into Deadpool and Wolverine?
No, I don't.
Because
think
you're getting Cassandra Nova in that film as the villain.
sure, but I don't think it's the same.
I don't think it is either. But like, it's kind of funny if they were to go that route. If they were to link this to Cassandra Nova, and then you get to see her in the movie. You know what I mean? I just thought that was a weird coincidence if they went that route. The other route obviously would be, this is all linked back to Mr. Sinister. And you think about it, Sinister wants the Summers DNA, right?
right.
So what's in his mind? He's like, how do I get Cable to come back? Well, if I create a catastrophic event that will lure him back to our time, then he'll show up and then I can, try and apprehend him or capture him or whatever. So this could all be one big plot. Being, the mastermind being Mr. Sinister in an effort to get Nathan Summers' Cable back to current time, which would be pretty crazy in itself.
Would be insane. Yeah.
But
Overall,
See what happens.
it's been great thus far, except for the filler episode. So it's been great. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
it's been outstanding. And, but that's the thing, when you think about Cassandra Nova, I was like, dude, and we were talking about this last night. I'm like, it'd be weird. It'd be crazy if they somehow connected this story to the Deadpool Wolverine movie. Like, what the fuck? Because it'd be weird if they did connect to her and then all of a sudden in the movie, there's just another version of her. Like, oh, this is the same character, just another version.
Just repackaged.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy to think about, what they're trying to pull off if that's what they're doing. But when Master Mold showed up and he was fucking had thousands of Sentinels falling off of him and he was just killing mutants left and right, that was so jarring. It was just like, oh my god, like Banshee got incinerated, Gambit died, Magneto and like that whole scene where he was holding up that shield and at the same time he was protecting Rogue from trying to save him, like that shot that they would show where you can like see it was mainly just his eyes looking at her. It was just really good. I was just like, wow, this is really, really good. It's good writing. It's good. I don't want to say cinematography because it's animation, but like the angles and shots they use, it was just really, really good. Now, granted, if it was live action, you have to do it a little bit differently, obviously, because you can get a lot more with animation. But I thought this was really, really good. I was, after it was over, Sean and I were both like in shock. We're like, holy shit, that just happened. So I knew something bad was going to happen. I
thought the Goblin Queen was thus far. That was the most shocking because we saw her so early on in the season. But then when all this happened, I think this kind of that took over that.
It's pretty easy to like look at episode 2, episode 3, and now episode 5, and like all three of those episodes are just fucking top tier masterclass showcasing of like the boundaries you can push. And apparently the ex showrunner Bo DeMaio was like, oh, this is just the appetizer. Episodes 8 through 10 is when shit gets really fucking off the chain. And I'm like, what could you possibly do to outdo those 3 episodes? Well, that's what I would love to know.
So if you think about it, right, this is what we talked about last night, and then we were like, here we go, here it comes.
Here it comes.
Just watching what was going to happen, and then we're reading the titles of the next episodes that are going to happen in the following weeks. It's kind of like, okay, so this big attack happened, a lot of people died, and now they got to figure out who was behind it and why. And then is there going to be time travel involved where, Cable has to go back in time to prevent this from actually happening? And the whole time I kept thinking, I was like, dude, this is why the Snyderverse would have been hella cool. Because it reminded me of it. I was like, fuck, if there's time travel
I was
involved,
thinking,
oh my God.
if I knew, hey, this is an X-Men 97
topic.
I'm not bringing
mad
up
at me right now.
the Snyder cut. And then he comes out and is like, so everybody, please don't stop watching the show, but let's bring up the Snyder cut. I'm like, dude, you just lost half the audience right there.
But it sucks that Bo DeMaio got fired, because like here's something that is on Disney Plus that is absolute fire. And to know that the guy who created the show and it was behind, the main guy, he already got fired. Like, oh shit. like
a week before the show released.
Yeah. Like, what did he do to get fired?
Nobody knows. No, well, nothing has been said publicly.
I don't think he's even said anything either.
No, probably not. He probably won't. He
probably point out that like with X-Men 97, it's the first like truly fire thing besides Loki and like the first little bit of WandaVision that like is really captivating the audience. If it was just for having an OnlyFans account and making money,
that's probably what it was.
Yeah,
that
Disney's
makes sense. Like, we can't back a guy who does this, who backs it up on OnlyFans.
I mean, that checks out. I mean, it's Disney, so like if you have the creator of a show doing that, I mean, in that case, I don't necessarily blame them. Makes sense.
Was it nude pics, or is he just like OnlyFans like his feet? I mean, what do we really know here?
There's not a whole lot to go off of. It's all just speculatory.
Right.
Because if he's just selling pictures of his feet and people are into that, I mean, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
Ryan does that on a regular basis.
I do that on the side.
I'm just curious to see what happens after the second season, because Bo DeMaio worked on this season and season 2. So whatever happens after season 2, I don't doubt that whoever they bring in will be, creatively adept enough to carry it forward. We've seen showrunners switch all the time on various different TV shows. It's nothing new.
But what I don't want to see is them almost milk this to the point where it's lost its impact, right? That we see from season 1. I'm sure season 2 will follow since he was involved in it, but we don't want to see then mediocre season 3 and then everything starts to go downhill from a quality perspective. If that starts, otherwise I'd be fine with just 2 seasons, close it off and be done.
Keep it short and sweet rather than drawn out and stale.
I can see it getting the same season run as the original, like 4 or 5 seasons, and then they're good. Like that's my guess.
Because I know people are already now questioning, now do we do what other content do we go back and bring back, like Spider-Man, for example? The original animated series,
I've seen a lot of people clamor for like a Krakoa era type of storytelling, the more modern stuff they've done with X-Men, and I could get behind that. I could see them utilizing Krakoa.
I mean, if it's done well like this, and I think it could definitely work.
The thing is they kind of have to bring back Professor X, Magneto. There's a few characters that are technically like dead
now,
that they need to effectively bring back in order for Krakoa to even like
make sense,
take place and make sense. Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I would also venture the guess that once Marvel Studios gets the ball rolling on their live action X-Men stuff, they might, put a bow on this 97 series. That way they can get to their live action portion.
Well, yeah, we kind of touched on that actually last night/this morning, where by the time, this season ends in late May. We probably won't see season 2 until probably the same time next year. If you go just the run of the mill, how TV show seasons air, it's usually around that time. And then that puts us into mid 2025. Then you have the next phases of the MCU coming up, late 2026, 2027. Does it already now say, now we've just set this up perfectly to bring in live X-Men kind of reboot or the new versions of them, where we can tie this animated off now with just the 2 seasons?
It's funny because like the last update they've had on anything X-Men live action related outside of Deadpool and Wolverine is the fact that they are hearing out pitches from writers for their live action film.
Yeah.
And I would almost bank on the fact that Mr. Sinister is such a heavy presence in this first season. He's more than likely going to be the main antagonist for the X-Men film, because he hasn't been used. He has not been used of any of the Fox stuff.
The only time you've ever seen any mention of Sinister was at the end of, what was it, like Logan? No,
Wolverine.
The Wolverine of
Wolverine.
Essex
Corp.
Corp. And then that didn't really go anywhere. It was kind of like, oh, okay.
There were a few hints. There was Deadpool 2, Wolverine, and it was either I almost said Apocalypse, but it wasn't Apocalypse. It was New Mutants, because there's the House of Essex there, or no, the House of Essex is in Deadpool 2. Either way, like all three of those movies, all three of those movies feature ties to the Essex Corp, ergo Mr. Sinister. But and even John Hamm mentioned that he was like, he talked to Fox about potentially being Mr. Sinister for them, which I would have taken that up fucking 10 ways to Sunday. John Hamm is a phenomenal actor.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
You look at him and it's like, yeah, he looks like Mr. Sinister. That was fucking. Ooh, I would love to see that like still happen, but you know, we'll see what happens.
Yep. So Dawson, definitely check it out.
I do need to. I've been meaning to.
Really, really good.
It's really good.
Yeah, I've been meaning to. I've just been preparing for this Comic-Con I got this weekend.
Oh, this weekend, yeah.
Well,
dude, if you get the chance and like have a day of free time, I'm telling you, just fucking binge the shit out of this shit. Like if there's since you've already seen like episode 1, you can just binge like 2 through 5 or even 6 or 7 whenever you find the time, and just like ingest it all in one sitting. Because I'm not saying it would be the better option. I'm saying it's just going to be, at least for you, and knowing the fan that you are, I feel like you're going to appreciate it a lot more to some extent.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm definitely gonna try to do that.
But I think too is like when you look at the stories and the villains that they've brought in so far, I think a lot of these villains, like the Adversary, like Mojo and
Master Mold.
Master Mold. But I mean, the more obscure ones, where I think, if you were to do it in live action, it may not come across the way you want it to. So
Sure.
I think that's why in animation, you can do the Adversary, you can do Mojo, and it's like, yeah, it's fine. I think Master Mold, you could do in live action because, we've seen huge robots before, we've seen like Pacific Rim and all that shit. And then Sinister, obviously, you could do it in live action. It's more of a horror type villain as well. So, but some of these guys, I think, they're just doing it on here because they can. They're like, hey, we can get away with it in animation. I don't know about live action, but animation. So, for the longest time, I kept thinking, okay, I really felt like this show was going to connect to something. But after this last episode, I feel more confident that this is a self-contained story. That they're just wrapping up this story within these seasons, because after what happened in the last episode, it was like, holy shit. But then again, if Cable comes back, which they already showed him come back in time, so it feels like he's gonna do it again, or they're gonna go back to that.
Yeah
I also think that since they did like tease a glimpse of the Watcher in this, at the very least, X-Men 97 will be featured in some form in a future season of What If. Season 3, maybe, but going forward past that, most certainly. That's my guess. Because I did see a rumor that they were going to feature some of the X-Men in a future season of What If. It wouldn't shock me if that wound up being the case.
Yeah. No, it was just what was cool was, you got Cyclops, Scott Summers, essentially having an affair with Madeline Pryor, but it's a telepathic affair, and then he gets caught by Jean Grey.
Right.
And it's funny because like in E is for Extinction, that actually did happen, but instead of Madeline Pryor, it was Emma Frost. And so I think it's funny that like in that same scene, they're like Madeline, oh sorry, my mind was wandering. And then Emma Frost goes, sure was. I think that was a nod to that was her storyline in E is for Extinction. So I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh, okay. But just like all the different dynamics they had going on, you had the Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Madeline Pryor, love triangle. You had Gambit and Rogue and Magneto love triangle. You had Wolverine, with the real Jean Grey, and then she kisses him, which is like, holy shit, what? I think even during the live stream, I was like, oh my god, it's like, what's going on? And then
I like when I saw that, I perked up. I was like, did they just fucking do that? Oh, they did that. They went there. Oh my goodness.
It was to a point where I was like, did I just imagine that, or did that really just happen? You know what I mean? It was like, oh fuck. The voice actor of Cable sounded like Josh Brolin. Yeah, I didn't really think about that.
I don't know. Let's find out.
Ryan, did you like the episode? You probably already talked about it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he was the first to talk about it.
he gave his.
Yeah, no, I definitely liked it. I like it so far. I've liked how many episodes? 5.
5, yeah.
I like
5,
4
yeah.
of the 5. I like in the one episode I thought was like, okay, the video game one. I like the the storm story. I'm waiting on that.
Yeah.
I hope it's not just like, okay, now she's gonna jump off the cliff with the horse and finally and then she'll believe in herself or whatever, and then that's how she gets it.
It was not Josh Brolin. It was a gentleman named Chris Potter.
Potter.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
You're a wizard, Harry.
You're a wizard, Harry. A darn good one too.
Yeah, I want to Ryan, to your point, I actually want to see some level of thought go into her getting her powers back. Not believe in yourself and just throw yourself off a cliff and spread your wings and fly.
It's that whole. I mean, we've seen that kind of thing before in other mediums where it's just like oh, I doubt myself, or oh, I didn't believe in myself, so I didn't let go. And now that you finally,
it's probably going to be like that because Forge already put her in that machine, and it was like, oh, it didn't work, And then now they're both trapped in the adversary's realm. I feel like she's gonna have to completely let go, and it's gonna her abilities are gonna reemerge.
And
probably.
then she's gonna sing that one.
I just don't think they're gonna be in a position where where they're in a place like this where Forge can make some technology like here put this on now.
Wear this chastity belt, Storm.
No, she's gonna be like Rose on the Titanic. She's gonna believe she can fly, and she's just gonna spread her arms out.
Forge is like
behind her,
like the way Forge revealed his love for her. You remind me of Anchorman where he's like, hey, when this is all done, I think you and I should move out and get an apartment together. I want to sit a few plays out.
Been really lonely in this cabin.
Yeah, it's like, okay, a little too far, buddy, a little too far. Calm down. I was like, oh God, don't scare her away.
I have is this mechanical arm.
I know.
Can't do much with the mechanical arm alone.
And I'm right-handed. But
I have to cheat on myself.
I mean, we know the next episode is going to take place. It's going to center around Forge and Storm's situation that they're in right now.
Life Death Part 2 is what it was titled.
Yeah.
Life Death Part 2.
I think that's going to be a Magneto episode, Andre. It's in the title.
It's going to be a Mojo episode.
Mojo.
But yeah, it's going to center around them. I think that's
it's going to be a Ralph Boner episode.
Oh, jeez. What is this? We got this big here. Dawson, you want to read this one? There you go.
Okay. Idea. How about a scene where Magneto uses his powers to help one normal person? Suppose poor Rogue were to get badly cut somewhere and she needs stitches since Wolverine, Sabretooth, or anyone with healing powers is nowhere near. The only person around with experience is a normal human vet, but he can't touch Rogue. He asks Magneto if he can transfer his powers into his own hands while he stitches her wound up. I don't see why not. That's interesting.
Yeah, Magneto's already dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
So no,
wait, you not know that?
If you didn't know, spoiler.
Oh,
so
shit. I
already told you, I don't care about spoilers.
I wonder.
Right now.
So I wonder.
No, not you.
I wonder if that in the trailer they showed way before the series even debuted, they showed a black coffin going into the ground, and everyone thought, "Is that Professor X?" And now I'm just like, "Oh fuck, that might be Magneto's coffin."
Yeah.
I didn't know that we didn't talk about that, so I apologize.
Idiot.
So because I unleash a spoiler, then I will play this.
What's he doing? Ruins it.
I mean, the description we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, if you definitely didn't watch the episode last night or early this morning, you've been pretty much spoiled already by everyone's input. So
good.
So you're good, but it's still always good to see that clip.
100%.
But yeah, you should definitely watch it. It's really good. It was very compelling. And for being an animation too, I was fully invested. I was like, dude, this is badass.
Sure,
and
yeah.
it was very intense.
Scotty.
Hey,
What's
up, man?
Cylon!
What is up,
Thank you.
Scotty? Love Scotty.
Awesome.
Got a 1999 super
Thanks,
chat.
Chief.
Says, hope you guys are well. Here is your explosion, my good man. Scotty, you'll be happy to hear that I've actually been using my PlayStation 2 a lot this week, playing some Rygar and God of War 1. I'm currently in the Underworld section of God of War. So, yeah, you'll be happy to know that. Always good to hear from you guys. Hope all's
The
going well your way,
Underworld.
man.
Underworld.
Did watch the episode. I thought the person who died. Yeah, Gambit died, and so did Magneto.
Yeah, they both died. Sorry, Dawson.
It's okay.
Oh, but they,
Yeah,
I mean, they went out in like hardcore fashion. It was just like,
100%.
fuck yeah.
They went out
Yeah.
like true fucking heroes.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the other way around. They went on like a bit.
Like a bitch.
Oh.
It was one of those sudden deaths, like, oh shit, he's dead. You know? No, it was very climactic. It was just like, fuck yeah,
It was like Mongal in Suicide Squad.
yeah,
Oh, good
like
lord.
everyone in Suicide Squad.
Well, and if you
Died.
think about the way this episode ended, in some shows that would have been the season finale. That would have been the cliffhanger. Magneto's dead, Gambit's dead. Now X-Men find out what's happened. Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And the
Well,
show would
it's
have ended.
like-
X-Men 98.
X-Men 98.
It's like the way this is going, it almost feels like, kind of what they did, in like Game of Thrones, where you had like one big, ginormous episode, and then usually like the episodes that lead up to the finale are better than the actual finale. The finale was always like more of a setup for the next season.
Yeah.
And it seems like this is going to be the next what. The next episode should be, I would hope, would be pretty good, but I think the two after that are going to be like out of control.
I think that'd be pretty under control.
No, I don't.
I think I had a thought and now I just fucking lost it. God damn it. I was thinking, okay, so I do know that there is also a point where Storm and Cyclops actually do fight for leadership of the X-Men, and Storm bests Cyclops without any powers whatsoever. And I wonder if that is going to come up in episode 6 or 7, maybe.
Yeah.
Because episode 7 is called Bright Eyes after all.
Yeah.
Man, I don't think Scott can take another L.
Turn around.
I know he's
Dude,
taking
but-
L's left and right.
Like I like Cyclops, I do, but he is the master of taking L's all over.
Do you even love me?
Otherwise, the only thing he has going from him is that landing from episode 1.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that shit was dope.
That's his peak moment right there. That's it.
Yeah.
And that
Well, that-
when he was like, kind of doing the moonwalk. Not really.
The whole episode was basically like a showcase of why Cyclops is a total badass,
Yeah.
or can be.
But he's a
yeah.
badass. Now let's get on to the real story where he's a bitch.
Well, it's crazy because like he's
Can be
talking
both.
to Jean Grey, and Jean Grey's like, "Tell me about Nathan." They're having this very close moment, and all of a sudden, like, boom, here she comes. What are you doing? Like, oh, what the fuck? Like, oh, he wasn't even talking to Jean Grey. He was talking to Madeline Pryor. That's fucking weird. Oh shit. They were
please don't act
having.
like that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they were role playing. Shit. Yeah, it was like, it was crazy.
Baby,
They were fucking role playing. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Let me explain.
Yeah, let me explain. And then
That doesn't explain why your trousers are down.
oh god.
Once he finds out about Logan, though, it's gonna be
Oh yeah.
game over.
But
Yeah.
that's the difference between like this series and the original series that came out back in the day. Is that like at Cortez? I can't believe Scott cheated on Gene with Gene. They would have never done that before. It was on Fox Kids. You know what I mean? Like on
Mhm.
regular television. But like now you have. I don't know. There was just
Yeah,
so many
Disney
dynamics
does
in that
things
episode.
different.
Disney,
Or
they
built
know what's wrong. No,
Built
but
different.
there was just so many dynamics that were happening in the episode. It was just so much fun to watch. And even when they were trying to convince when Sebastian Shaw and Emma Frost and them were trying to convince Magneto to be the what do they call him? Not the Emperor,
The
but
Chancellor.
the Chancellor Palpatine.
Order 66.
I no confidence in Chancellor Valorm's leadership.
No confidence in Chancellor
That's all it took. It was like, oh, he's out.
Yeah, he's out. Stand aside, General Zod.
General Zod, he's like, oh. And then he's like, I'll do it only on one condition. And then even that, I was like, oh, dude, that's a little manipulative, kind of crazy. Like, that's not a lot of people are gonna like that idea. You know, he did it anyway. He was like, "I'll rule as long as I have Rogue at my side." Like she hasn't agreed to it, but don't
She
worry.
doesn't
about
agree
it.
to yeah, but she'll go along with it.
She'll go along with it, and then she didn't. And at the very end, she's like, "Gambit's right. Like I can't go on with you anymore." And I was like, "Holy shit!" She flipped it again, and then all of a sudden, you see Cable, and everyone starts dying. I was like, "Oh my god." You just got the randos who are running, just like,
Holy shit.
getting killed.
That, like blubber guy, skeleton dude, fucking survived. Everybody else like was fucking dying left or right, but the fucking Jello guy fucking stayed alive.
He stayed alive. All the Morlocks died.
Yes.
Callisto died. Like they literally showed her eye. Like I was like, "Oh yeah, she's dead." And then I would assume Sebastian Shaw was dead. He was laying there next to like a bunch of other dead bodies. I was like, "Oh, this is like Transformers when they just show all the dead Transformers in Transformers the movie."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh god."
They didn't show if Emma Frost was dead, though.
Correct.
They didn't, and so like that whole idea about how because in the comics the diamond skin thing, and that would make sense too because then maybe that's what brings her to join the X-Men for the remainder of this season or whatever. But well, it's crazy because when she's in her diamond form, she can't use her telepathic ability, and she also can't be attacked by it. So, like in the comic, she's the one who takes down Cassandra Nova. So maybe that's what happens again. I don't know, because she was in her diamond form, and Cassandra Nova was like, she couldn't fight her off.
Yeah. Well, also Cassandra Nova would just be a if they were to introduce Cassandra Nova, then that would also give way for Professor Xavier to come and return and deal with his long lost evil crazy sister. Right.
His like entity of a sister. It's crazy.
Right. Especially if you know the whole backstory of like what and who Cassandra Nova is and just how fucking whack it is when you deal with that character on a X-Men scale. It is just insane. She's basically like, how do I want to say this? She's all for her own kind of mutant kind. She is twisted, devilish, and everything's so good about Charles Xavier. Take all the bad, and that's Cassandra Nova. Like she is evil with telepathic ability. It is fucking insane, and how twisted and scary that character is.
Because I think she's like an Omega level, or there's a certain level of mutant she is, and like those are the only mutants that like she,
she's basically all about mutant superiority.
Yes,
and the superior of the superior mutants, basically. Like as you said, the Omega level mutants are the only ones she gives a fuck about. So people like Franklin Richards, Jean Grey, who else am I missing here? Cable's an Omega level mutant. Like there's basically anyone below Omega level, she's like, get out of here. You're not worth my time.
So you don't want the smoke.
Nope.
You don't want this.
You don't want
you don't want to catch this fade.
And then Angel was there, or Archangel was there.
Archangel was there. Yep.
He kept flying around like, whoa,
yeah.
And then you just assume, okay, I guess he died. The other thing too that we were talking about last night was that I feel like Nightcrawler might stick around because I mean they featured him a lot, so I would think he would stay with the team. And he didn't die. I thought for a second he was gonna die. I was like, dude, really, you're gonna fucking kill Nightcrawler? And then he lived. I was like, oh, thank God.
I'm still waiting to see Magic and Colossus. Like I want to see Magic and Colossus.
Yeah, I mean they've hinted at them already, but they haven't actually been there.
Right, and I want to see like Magic and Colossus show up as brother and sister. That would be fucking dope. Oh man. And even like I'll even take Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch too. Like that would be. You know what? Since Magneto's dead, and they find out, I wonder if they could pop up because of that. I don't know. That'd be interesting. I don't know if I just rewatched the series, but I don't remember if Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch came into play or not. I don't think they ever did.
I don't think they did. I don't remember them being in it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, right. So could I. Because we're wrong the most as it is anyway.
No. You got to tickle their balls a little bit.
There we go. That was a good transition.
But, well, they were in X-Men Evolution, but I don't know that I don't recall them ever being in the original series. But I know Deadpool like made a small cameo appearances as just in spurts. But that's one thing I did wonder, to your point about Cassandra Nova being like kind of a lead in for Deadpool 3. I wonder if there will be like some kind of Deadpool cameo of any sort whatsoever, if they showcase Deadpool in any fashion whatsoever in X-Men 97, and will it be voiced by Nolan North or will it be voiced by Ryan Reynolds? That's what I'd be curious to know.
Well, and so my whole point with the Deadpool Wolverine is that like you can easily do where at the end of season 1, she somehow leaves this universe, like she escapes, and then you catch up with her again in Deadpool and Wolverine, where it's just her. Dealing, it's the same version of the character, but in live action.
I don't think it would be that. I think it would be I think it would fall in line with how, like a parallel universe, fixed point in time situation, right? Because if you like Multiverse of Madness, they had the Illuminati take out Thanos in a similar fashion that the Avengers took out Thanos, right? Like a parallel timelines happen simultaneously, but they go about it in very different ways. I think you could see Cassandra Nova come in and wreck house in X-Men 97. And then also showcase a different version of Cassandra Nova wrecking house and leading to the events, or rather leading right into the events of Deadpool and Wolverine. So not necessarily the same exact character, but definitely a variant on that character, if I had to guess.
Yes,
Or the original 90s because they found out about Magneto being okay, yeah. I must have missed that part. Or I was probably busy doing something else when that episode happened.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe I was sleeping.
Snoozing.
I would put it on before I go to bed. I would catch a couple episodes, and then I'd do the same thing the next night. If I missed episodes, I missed episodes.
Yep.
It is what it is.
That's how it went back then, kids. You missed it, you missed it.
Yep.
But
What's the rerun?
yeah, the rerun.
Catch the rerun.
You'll find out in about 30 years, kid.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Reruns.
so with that, let's
Brand
transition
new.
over to the other main topic we have for today. There's a new trailer for Joker, Folie Deux. Is that how you pronounce it?
Sure.
Well, yeah, I do.
Folie à
Fully, I do.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they had
I do.
they had the teaser trailer before with just Arthur Fleck, played by Joaquin Phoenix, just laughing in his uncomfortable laugh at Arkham. And then they had the full trailer featuring Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn and kind of showing off some things. So my takeaway from the trailer, like this whole time leading up to it, I've been very adamant that the Joker movie did not need a sequel. It was perfect. It was a fantastic movie. Very, very well done, well performed. And the story kind of left it to where like what really happened was up to you. And it's really hard to follow up a movie like that with something that continues things on in a satisfying way. And of course, we had all the different headlines of, oh, the Joker movie is going to have, or the second Joker movie is going to have like elements of musical numbers and songs and such. And so we're all like, how is that going to play? I think this trailer answered that question pretty definitively, to me anyway. Because as I was watching this trailer, you see when we first, one of the first times we see Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn, she's in a room with other patients and they're holding up sheet music, or what looks like sheet music. And I think what they're implying is that, and I think they even said something along those lines in the trailer, that they're using some sort of like musical therapy for some of the inmates / patients at Arkham Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes sense to where they're kind of internalizing this musical therapy. And then that makes it to where all the musical numbers that'll happen will simply be hallucinations in their mind together, kind of like how Arthur would imagine different scenarios, like, you know, being on stage and, you know, killing it as a comedian, you know, and I just think it's going to be really interesting to see how well they play with that and balance those elements together. But I'm more excited for the sequel now than I was before, just because it's starting to make sense as to what exactly they're doing. And it's like, this trailer is a great example to me why, when it comes to reportings about movies and their trailers or what their concepts are going to be, the media do a terrible job, a terrible disservice at actually describing accurately what's happening. They're like, oh, it's going to have musical aspects, and that's it. That's all it gave away. It's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. It did get people talking, but it also made people very hesitant because it's like, what the hell are we doing here? But I do think this trailer kind of either subsided some of those concerns for people who were like kind of on the fence. And if they were already not for it, then they weren't going to be for it in the first place. But I don't know. I really liked the trailer. What'd you guys think?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. Yeah. I thought it was really cool, and you know, the whole musical numbers that were, you know, showcased in that. I think it was cool because, I mean, look, when you're talking about people that are, you know, in Arkham Asylum who are have mental illness, you know, a lot of times they, you know, they channel their, you know, their only kind of creativity through, like, you know, art or music and all that. So yeah, like you know, they can fully, you know, I can imagine people just like totally fascinating about, you know, this whole scene of him singing and dancing with her and doing all those things, and in reality, you know, they're in like an insane asylum. And I mean, you saw them like dancing out of Arkham Asylum. I just thought it was really cool. It was a cool concept. I think this film looks like it's going to hit the way the first one hit, and I'm looking forward to it. I thought the trailer was good, and I'm totally excited for it. I think it's going to be really, really good.
And I think this also kind of doubles down on the idea of it being a different type of comic book movie, where it's going more towards the artistic route, that rather than just like trying to check off boxes X, Y, and Z of what can we do with this Joker character. It's actually trying to say something and express things in a way that it's trying to be, I guess the best word I can think of is artistic. And a lot of people are saying like, oh, you know, it's too much. And I'm just like, you know what? It shows me that they're taking it seriously, which I appreciate that. And anyone else?
Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't really have anything bad to say. I don't even know that I had any expectations for it at all, because I like the first film fine. Like, okay, as a movie, it's fantastic. Like cinematography, direction, performances, like it's all fabulous. Like it's all really well done. Like as a comic book movie, I don't even know that I would put it in the same category as a traditional comic book film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like because it's just not. It wasn't ever meant to be. And the idea that like they intended it for it to be a one-off, but the fact Todd Phillips and Joaquin always like, oh, you know, what else could we do with Arthur if we ever got the opportunity to? And it's funny because like Joaquin Phoenix famously does not do sequels, and this was the first time he decided to come back and do one.
Yeah.
So whatever they came up with was clearly enough to warrant, you know, Phoenix coming back. And like I'd have to imagine Warner Brothers probably dumped a whole bunch of money in front of Todd Phillips and said, "Could you please make us a sequel?" And what's even funnier to me about all this is he had complete and total creative control over the first film on a $60-some-odd million budget. It makes $1 billion fucking dollars, right? And then this movie happens. You know, they give him way more to work with. They turn, you know, they have musical elements. They bring in Lady Gaga, right? And then DC gets, you know, new heads from James Gunn and Peter Safran. And apparently he gave notes to Todd Phillips. I'm just like, why would you give him notes? That doesn't, like, his movie actually made money. Let the man cook.
Seriously.
Like, who are you to give him notes? His movie made way more money than yours did. So, I mean, look, I get it. You're the new head of DC. That's fine. But, like, this is an Elseworlds banner. This is exactly what Warner Brothers intended from the go. Like, we are a filmmaker-driven studio. Oh, we want filmmakers to come in and leave their stamp on these characters. We want them to do their own thing. Let them do their own fucking thing then, and stop trying to be like, oh, well, maybe you can tweak this, that. I'm sure, I'm not saying I know this for a fact, but I'm sure if Todd Phillips was handed notes by James Gunn, he probably did the same thing James Gunn did when he was given notes on the Suicide Squad. Oh, that's nice. Don't care. Straight up. Because Joaquin Phoenix and director Todd Phillips reported, that's reported. We don't know that for fact. They don't ever report hard numbers on stuff like that. We can only ever find out if they ever talk about it.
I wish I got $20 million to do a movie.
Right?
Like, my God,
I wish I was paid $20 million to lose 40 pounds and eat nothing but an apple and smoke cigarettes all day and act like a joker. Like, fuck yeah, I'd do it. Anyway, my point is like, I do not understand the thought process of being like, hey, we know you made $1 billion movie, but can you maybe do that? And I don't doubt Todd Phillips went, no.
Yeah, it was like,
absolutely not.
Just say like, he probably says, I'm better than you.
it's like trying to give Christopher Nolan notes on Oppenheimer. You really think Universal did that? Absolutely fucking not.
Yeah, like, absolutely not. I know Andre has to dip here.
Yeah, I got to dip out. I just want to come in and talk about X-Men real quick, and I'll leave you guys at it for Joker. But thanks for having me on, of course, obviously.
Thanks
No,
for coming. It's always a pleasure when you stop by.
What was that? All right. I'll talk to you guys later.
Later.
See you, man.
Take care.
Yeah, either Sean or Ryan, whichever wants to go first. What were your
Go
guys'
ahead.
thoughts?
I loved it. I think I've probably watched it almost 10 times because I picked it apart a bit. It definitely met my expectations on what I was hoping to see, as far as, are we going to see what this world will look like now that he's been arrested? He's in he's in Arkham Asylum, which we believe he's in Arkham Asylum because we saw Arkham Asylum in the first film, so we believe that's where he's at.
Right.
We don't know that for sure yet, but some of the things I noticed, kind of just picking the trailer apart. So when we think about the name of the film now makes sense. So Folie Deux is actually it's a psychosis or shared delusional disorder.
Right.
And it's something where there's a delusional belief or hallucinations can be transmitted between individuals. So knowing that, and now we finally get to see the trailer, the name now makes sense based on what we've seen today. Are they sharing a delusional experience? Because many people believe that's how Joker, the first film, was. That what we were seeing wasn't true. Where we truly believe he's actually still in the hospital, and this is just a story he's telling the therapist or the doctor that we see at the end, who he eventually, we believe, kills, because he walks out and there's bloody footprints everywhere. So I thought that was very telling, especially based on the condition he has, which is the pseudobulbar effect, that laughing or crying uncontrollably since he has that disorder, which is what they focused on in the first film. I still think we don't know whether or not what we're seeing is something that he's imagining, or has he still been, or do we still believe he could be in this institution this whole time, and this is just the next step of his delusion, or the next step of what he believes is happening, and it's truly not happening. So I don't think we've seen enough yet to know that. And I also don't think we've seen enough to know if Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn is even a patient,
Right.
Or even real.
So I'm going to go off the premise that is she even a patient? So yet we first see her, she's standing with sheet, what we believe is to be music, lyrics. She's in a group. Based on her clothing, it would lead us to believe she's a patient. She's wearing, looks like pajamas. The sweater I like a lot of the tiebacks they did for her clothing, because if you look closely at her sweater, the lower half of it is a red and black faded diamond pattern. A lot of the clothes she wears, like her leggings in the scene where they're dancing down the stairs, they're diamond pattern. So they really tied that piece of Harley Quinn's character from the I guess comics, so to speak, or just the character itself, the diamond pattern, into her clothing throughout almost every outfit she was wearing. So that was a nice callback to the character. Because what we saw here, there could be an essence of flashbacks. So we see Harley Quinn coming, we're at the top of the stairs, and we see her appearing at the top. So I question is that a flashback, or is that her coming home from the hospital, from where she works? And she's standing in that crowd where we first see her as, well, she's just trying to make everyone comfortable. She's one of the doctors there. She's seeing with her patients. Another aspect that makes me believe that she could be a doctor at the point is we have that what could be a flashback where we see a blonde woman throwing a trash can into a store window with the TVs with Joker on it, which it looks like that's when he was arrested and caught. Is that Harley Quinn? And if it is, then that would show that she was part of the riots at the end of Joker 1. She was in that crowd participating in that. Some of the other things I noticed, I'll wrap it up real quick. The dancing that they were doing on top of Arkham Hotel, we see them do that, which I thought was a nice callback to two things. We saw something very similar in Suicide Squad 2016. The director's cut that the studio released, where we see Jared Leto and Margot Robbie dancing, but it was also a callback to Alex Ross's artwork, where he had a piece where they were kind of dancing as well. So that was a nice callback. I also thought it was a nice callback where Joker's in the white suit to Dark Knight Returns.
True.
Yes.
That was a nice. That was a nice. I'm assuming these are callbacks because that's what I referenced them to when I very first saw. I was like, oh, I've seen this before. I've seen the Joker kind of wear this type of outfit.
They're like,
before.
oh wow, yeah, no, that's exactly what we were going for.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what they did. But I don't know if the average viewer is making those tiebacks. But on the dancing scene, we see them dancing on top, and then as they do a shift, we see them dancing in the rain outside. If you look behind them, there's a building on fire. Later on the trailer, we see them running down a hallway as if they just started the fire because the fire just started behind them. So obviously, the way the trailer is pieced together, it's obviously not in the order of how we would see it in the film. But I just thought, and the last comment I'll make is at the end, where it looks like it's a blonde woman who puts the makeup on the glass. If it's Harley Quinn and she is a patient, why is she on the other side of the glass and he's on the opposite side, as if that side is where the patients or criminals are kept?
And we just appreciate how amazing a shot that is.
That was how it faded on the makeup, faded off that to him, and then he went up to it and smiled, and kind of just it perfectly covered.
Well,
I thought that was such a great shot.
I think that could be CGI. I mean, they do stuff like it's all you have to do, because she was in the foreground, so and her hand is facing away, so you really don't have to match it to anything. All they have to say is just, hey, move it from here to here, kind of like the Disney Channel.
Well, yeah,
like, hey, thanks for watching the Disney Channel. They do thing.
Yeah, whether it's CGI, still
no, I mean it's a cool shot.
Yeah. So
in fact, I saw a post that someone made where it's like, they're saying, I have a theory that Todd Phillips thought of this shot, and that's the main reason he made the sequel to this, just to have that one shot in the movie, because it was so dang good. Real quick, though, Silence said, I got rear-ended right after my super chat. Oh, sorry, man.
That's terrible.
Fine. Just a student driver. Glad you're still getting enjoyment out of the OSSC, the converter that I have. Let me know when you want another retro console. Dude, I will let you know. I'm going to milk as much enjoyment out of this PS2 as I can, get some more games, but I will definitely let you know, man. I appreciate it.
Nice.
Silence. Scotty's awesome. But
so last 3 points I'll make is we see Harley Quinn going up the steps to the courthouse. I believe at that point, still potentially the doctor, but now she's starting to go crazy. She's starting to join Arthur in his delusions, or what the crowd believes him to be is their savior. Because you look in that crowd, there's signs that say free Joker. Some say guilty as charged. And then we see a larger explosion, which we can, if you pause it, you can tell it's happening in the courthouse. And I just like some of the callbacks, like when she did like the smile on her face. Joker did that in the first. The finger guns, we saw Joker do that. We saw ZZB do that as well. She did it. So there's these definite callbacks to the original that they're bringing forward into this one. I'm all in on this. I loved the first one. I probably watch it multiple times a month. It's just one of my favorite films in general. I don't look at it just as a comic book film. I look at it just an overall film. This is a day one view for me, probably 2 viewings, because I know they're doing it, releasing in IMAX and even 70 millimeter IMAX, which from what I heard, only 30 theaters in the country actually have that ability to show that format. Yes. So I don't know if I'm one of the ones in my state that has it, but either way, I'm seeing it day one. So I'm super pumped. And I was one of the ones that said, I don't know if this needs a sequel, but seeing this, it makes how they're doing it makes sense. It feels like, yeah, this would be the next progression of what would happen to Arthur after he got arrested or caught. And then this is the fallout of what happened. And then the umbrellas. I don't know if anyone noticed that. The umbrellas, when he's walking out in the beginning, they were all black. But he looks up and smiles, and then the umbrellas change color. They're all different colors. They're not black anymore. So it was as if they were trying to, at various points, bring out, hey, this is Arthur, this is Joker. Anyways, I'll turn it to Ryan.
One thing real quick that you mentioned that kind of got me thinking is you talk about her still being a doctor, but kind of making her patients like kind of comfortable around her and interacting with them. It kind of made me think of what Mark Ruffalo's character does in Shutter Island, how he kind of participates in the delusions and like kind of plays a character. Maybe you can see something along with that. And one thing they could do something similar to the first film accomplished is maybe like make it to where the whole time you see her joining Arthur and what's going on, then at the end you cut to him in a room with Harleen and she's still normal,
Yeah.
and everything that was happening before is like up for debate on whether or not it actually happened or not.
Yeah.
That could be something that they play off of. But Ryan.
Yeah. It was interesting. Of course, I like the first film. Not a Lady Gaga fan, so I didn't really care that she was cast in the role. It didn't sway me or anything like that. So I was just kind of waiting to see, what the trailer would, kind of look like or whatever. And, I do like that they, sort of kept that motif or kept that theme is, very ambiguous, what's real, what's not real, what's, because that's what I liked about the way that the last film ended was that like, is it all in his head, whatever, I thought about, okay, so Harleen is probably there and he's probably done exactly what he did with Zazie Beetz, like, okay, I've interacted with you. Now you're a character in my mind, and we're going to have great adventures and we're going to dance and do all kinds of stuff and whatever. And so he's doing to her what he did to Zazie Beetz, because that's just kind of like it's a pattern. So, I feel like, she's just, sort of there as the doctor, but yeah, it will show, it'll kind of like take you in and out of like, okay, what situations was she actually a part of and what wasn't she?
Yep.
And, so I'm interested in it. I think I do like the aspect that, just like the umbrella thing, like, okay, now you're in a fantasy world, where you were, just kind of like casually walking across, corridor or wherever they were. And then, now he's in his little playland and, he's going to probably dance and sing and whatever. And I think what it looked to me like, they were back on stage, back where he shot De Niro. And he was like, kind of, I'm the Tonight Show kind of guy now or whatever. And that's probably a delusion. There's that one scene where he's running away from himself and another masked clown or whatever. Yeah. And so I think that's probably, that's playing in like, he's not really understanding who he is versus who this persona of the Joker is or whatever. Are we going to see the 10-year-old Bruce Wayne running around, because
probably not.
We saw him in the first one, so I don't know if we're going to see him again or not. I wouldn't. It wouldn't matter, but it's just like it was weird to see him in the first one, but I don't know if he plays a part or not, or even is mentioned or anything like that. But overall, I think they're going to go back and kind of continue, what they did with the first one, and that's one thing I don't like about sequels when they try to change something. Or when they try to up the ante, or when they try to do something and they go off, they I don't want to say deviate from the formula, because I don't want to see a formulaic film. I don't want to see the first film again in this and just like, oh, well, we added some musical numbers. Well, that doesn't make it completely different for me. I want to see more. I want to see something, just more compelling, interesting, and and all that. So, I do want it at the end of this second film. I want to still say, is this shit all in his head? Is it real? What's not? I still want to be left with more questions than answered, but still in an entertaining way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, in that scene when he's running down the street, if you look closely, his makeup is worn off. You can tell he had makeup on, and it's been kind of smeared off.
Well, the makeup, if you look, the makeup that she was putting on him was a little bit different. Than
a little messier.
Yeah, it was a little messier, and I think the blue was a little bit bigger, and I think it was just like, they were just, messing around. So I don't know if that was, that makeup or whatever that just kind of got rubbed off or because of sweat or whatever.
Well, the clothes he's wearing in the scene he's running down the street almost looks like it's the same clothes he's wearing when he's in the police van when he's handcuffed, as if he's being taken to court. So I don't know if something's happening between those two scenes where he puts makeup on.
Maybe that's where the movie starts, him running. Maybe
because
I think that's in his mind, because he's being chased by somebody who is dressed exactly like him, and that's not enough time for somebody to go, oh, you know what, I got to go see a tailor.
Yeah, because in the court scene, when the courthouse blows up, we see him slide it then across the floor. Then it goes to them dancing down the steps where someone's actually holding up a newspaper that said, free of all Arthur or Joker free of all charges. So it's somewhere either in what we can perceive either to be the real world or
I think Free of All Charges is delusional world.
that's what I'm saying. We
Yeah.
we don't we would have to because in that scene it would the way it's
There
set
would be
up
no
it
way
is
that-
it is delusional because obviously how the scene is playing out there, but obviously then by the explosion happening, is he then escaping custody, running down the street, then being chased by either a copycat or his supporters, right? And he's just trying to get away from them in general, right?
Right. No, I understand. The supporter is the one with the mask.
Correct.
The one behind him
Is like a
him.
mimic version of from the first film. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we saw a set photo of that where it was Arthur in like the more messy makeup and like kind of raggedy clothes, and then next to him.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones. Yeah.
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 So I'm just really curious to see like how things bleed into each other as far as reality and fantasy for him. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with the music of this movie, because the score of the first movie, especially the song labeled "Call Me Joker," or was it "Call Me Joker"? Was it the song that played right after he killed the guys that worked for the Wayne Enterprises?
Yes.
That song just chills.
Well,
Absolute chills.
I can't remember the name of the composer. I can't remember her name.
Hilda Gudendaughter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I knew you'd remember. I hope she return. I don't know if she is, but I hope she's returning to do it for this one, because that score was the best
Amazing.
score. It fit that film perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope we see something. I know there's gonna be musical aspects, but from a just instrumental score, I hope we see something very similar. But I did appreciate the fact that the song they used in the trailer, it wasn't the original, it was a redone from Jackie DeShannon 1965 sone. I mean, I know everyone's heard that song. What the world needs is love. Now is love.
At first, when I heard it, because I guess because I just got done watching Wonka, I thought it was just like I thought it was that Willy Wonka song.
Yeah,
Because it sort of has the same melody.
But that was
like,
a nice. It was a different version than the original.
Yes,
but it definitely
yes.
fit the trailer, though.
I was like, if you want to view paradise, wait a minute, that's not it.
But and I accept the fact this isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea. The first one wasn't everyone's cup of tea.
Sure.
There's going to be people out there who
I don't think, and that's another topic of discussion. I don't think that this film is going to do in the box office what the first one did. I think it's going to make a lot of money, but I don't think it's going to it's going to be that phenomenon.
Just based on the current climate of theaters in general, I think this movie could be considered a success if it makes around 700 million.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Dune Part 2 is like well loved, but it made like what, 650 million? And that's because Warner Brothers put it digitally pretty early on, pretty quickly. We'll probably see a similar treatment to this. So
I think it's gonna get close to $1 billion. I think it'll get close to $1 billion. I don't know if it'll breach it, but I think it'll get pretty close.
I think at the very least it'll make between 500 and 600 million. If it has the potential to get higher, given Lady Gaga being who she is. The fact that fucking Taylor Swift sold out so much during the Eras tour, I don't doubt one bit that Lady Gaga fans are going to turn out for this. And the fact the first film was such a cultural phenomenon, I've had everyday people tell me, oh, I'd love to see another movie. My father, who's not at all like a super huge movie buff, be like, yeah, I'd watch another one. Same guy, same everything.
Yeah. It definitely feels more to general audiences than
absolutely. Like it definitely, even a guy at work who I know like doesn't avidly watch too many movies. Like he saw the teaser like this very small tease of like Arthur Fleck just laughing in the rain. He's like, I want to watch that movie. So
and one of the things that concerned me about this sequel was I think Ryan mentioned earlier was I wanted that same feel, the same tone. I wanted that, and it feels like thus far, at least from what we're seeing from this trailer, we're going to get that. I was worried we were going to get something from like Batman Returns into Batman Forever. You have something very dark and gothic to something very neon lights. Gotham is now this big statues and everything everywhere. Was just you can tell the tone was completely changed. I was worried that was like
High School Musical, but for like in Arkham. Just like everybody's like da da, and just like
like this was gonna be like
all stupid
the Glee version of Joker.
I think that's the biggest concern that anybody has ever had since they're talking about like 15 cover songs or whatever, and they're like, oh man, yeah, I know, and it would be nice if the cover songs were just like maybe not even a minute long, that you just like
segments
it's
of them.
situational. It marries well with the situation or the scene, and it's only for a moment.
When
And
it
it's not
looks
the
like
whole
they're in a
song,
gy-
and they don't break out, and the guards don't start dancing and singing and shit, you know, all kinds of, you know, moronic crap. You know, Mr. Freeze comes out, hey, you know.
Yeah, well, it looks like they're in a jazz bar based on the background where you have. They look like there's trumpet. You know, it looks like a very much jazz bar atmosphere when he's.
Oh, sure,
holding the
yeah,
mic,
yeah. When she's at the piano, yeah.
And then we see a shift to where now he's beating somebody with a bar stool. And then when she does like the smile on her face, if you look behind her, she's actually doing that in the courtroom, because right behind her you can see all the folders of evidence, boxes, the lawyers. So that it'll be interesting to see if there's a singing aspect to the courtroom before it gets blown up. So
yeah,
but yeah, I like I said, I watched it multiple times just because I wanted to make sure I was like, I want to catch every little thing on this track because I couldn't wait for this to drop.
Yeah.
So.
Antonio says here, Dawson people went to see IMAX theaters instead of the regular theater to see Dune 2. I mean, yeah, that's exactly what I did too. My point is that like it's still really well loved and still didn't make $1 billion. So, like there's still that threat of not making it, which like it doesn't have to make $1 billion in order to be successful. It just doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But that's sort of, you know, I mean, everybody likes watching the money, right? You know, everybody's like, oh man, this could do this, this could do that. Oh, this is definitely going to be this because this, you know, it's such and such, and we have high expectations and whatever. And I sort of like to go into something and sort of temper my expectations. If it does $1 billion, it does $1 billion. That's awesome.
Well, and I think Phil brings up the best point on that is you're going to have an audience who probably didn't go see the first one, who will go see this one just simply the fact that Lady Gaga.
Sure, yeah.
And I think that might be the push it gets to maybe put it over $1 billion is is bringing in her. Otherwise, you're looking at between a 5 to maybe 700 million top film. But I think the Lady Gaga aspect will definitely probably push it over.
That's definitely something to consider for sure. I think her popularity will definitely bring it higher than maybe it would if it was just Joaquin Phoenix.
Because she's got a big. I mean, look at the trailer. She doesn't have a small role. I mean, it seems like she's in it, like with him there, and the whole movie's just about these two.
Well, I mean, what about that one with Bradley Cooper? It was a remake of a remake, or The Star is Born.
Yeah.
Did that blow box office or whatever? I mean, she had a following then.
I mean, I know the one song from it like blew up and people loved it, but I can't remember the box office numbers for A Star is Born. I think it did mildly successful.
I'm not going to compare A Star is Born to Joker.
True.
I'm just saying, you know,
I think Phil's got the numbers.
For the record, the budget of A Star is Born that starred Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, $36 million. Box office total, $436 million.
So it made a good amount of money.
Yes.
So that could put it close to $1 billion. I mean, was everyone rushing to see Bradley Cooper in that? I mean, they probably not.
I mean, he was fresh off the heels of Todd Phillips' Hangover, so yes.
The greatest trilogy in movie history.
I don't know about that. I like the first one.
No, yeah, we're gonna cut that out. Edit that out.
And we're gonna clip that. So,
clip that.
Like, hey, guess what Sean said?
Hangover, greatest trilogy ever.
Oh man, but yeah, no, I mean, I think it'd be very exciting to see what this movie does. I'm excited for just something to be sort of artistic in a way, because like we had Dune Part 2, which was like cinema at its finest in the modern age. Then we have, you know, Joker, Folie Deux. That's like gonna be actually like something that's meant to be impactful and with striking cinematography, and hopefully with the similar score that we got in the first movie. Like, I'm just very much excited for something like that, because I remember when I watched the first one in theaters, I watched it with my little sister, and we were just sitting there like we had no idea what to expect from it. And then when the game show or talk show scene happened, like we just looked at each other like, holy crap, this is incredible. Like this is, and my sister's not into this stuff at all. Like she's not into superhero stuff. She doesn't keep track of it, but like that one, she's like, yeah, that one was freaking incredible.
Yeah.
She's like, well, maybe you're not such a nerd.
Yeah. Yeah. For a split second. Then
yeah. And
then I was just like, oh, you know, they reference this and this.
Then
like,
the credits roll.
Well, did you know that in the Snyder Cut? Oh, here we go.
The credits roll, and then the whole drive home, Dawson's throwing out all these comic references.
Yeah.
And she's like,
this reference to this issue, this reference to this story, like this is this costume.
This is how this ties into it. Do you know Greg Capullo?
Like,
yeah.
Are you listening?
Honestly, yeah, that's me. Like, Greg Capullo, Gary Frank, Jason Fabok, like those guys. I do.
Are you listening
Seems
to me,
like
or do
us
you
is the
hear
longest
me?
car ride ever.
Do you hear me? Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, I'm very, very stoked. I think it could be really, really interesting to see how it does. Because I still want to eventually get the Steelbook of Joker. I think I have just the Blu-ray.
I don't think I own that movie yet.
I don't own it.
I have it on
own it.
Blu-ray.
Guys, I'll buy you a copy. If you don't have one, you gotta have one. Come on.
I have the Blu-ray, but not a Steelbook. I haven't seen what the Steelbook looks for that.
Sean's like,
I'll send you a picture.
Sean's like, have you heard about our Lord and Savior Todd Phillips and his masterpiece on his Joker?
Let me spread the good news.
Let me just spread the word of joy.
Oh man.
I want you guys to be fully ado.
This is the holy scripture. Have you seen it? Have you read it? Have you seen it? Have you digested it? No? Then here, watch cinema.
Show up at your door with it in my hand. Have you heard the good news?
You need to do just a short video of that. Just do it yourself and just have it yourself. Like knock on the door and then see you open the door and it's like, have
With
you
the Joker.
witnessed cinema?
Yeah.
And then the other you's like, what? And you go, no, time to witness cinema. Blood smile.
Yeah. They just have
Right,
the other
that's
you
great,
sit
yeah.
down and watching it like crying like that Danny DeVito movie, like, I get it now. I get it.
Hey, I'm gonna have a lot of free time on my hands here in the next one day. So
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it
Definitely
up.
take advantage of that. Droger here says, Dawson, did you watch the Invincible finale? Yep, I did. I watched it the other day.
Oh wow.
I'm
Okay, so
sorry.
it's done because I watched the first couple episodes and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait till the whole thing and just binge.
that's
It's
what I've been
good.
doing.
It's doing a good job of following the book and changing some small things here and there. They changed up how things go down with Amber in this season a little bit from the book. Of course, they changed a lot for the first season as well with that relationship, which in that first season it wasn't good changes, but this one it's like, okay, it makes sense. How they handled gosh, what was Langstrom or gosh, what's his freaking name? Langstrom what's his name? Anyway, the big brain guy. Yeah, they handled him really, really well in the episodes that he was in.
Oh, right. He was the one with like all the different versions of him. or
Angstrom
whatever.
Levy. That was
Yeah,
his name.
okay.
Yeah.
So either Dawson really couldn't remember, or he was stalling to see how long Phil could hold up his thumbs up.
Oh, no, I didn't know. Sorry. I was trying to think. No, Joe got correct me. Angstrom Levy. I was combining his first and last name a little bit. I know you're proud of me, Phil, for liking it. Okay.
No, that's not at all. I'm just glad you like it. That's what the thumbs up.
That's what I'm saying.
That's for anyone who likes that show.
I'm sorry, Phil.
There's nothing to be sorry about. Like what you like. No judgment. I just think the show
can't
looks.
enjoy two great animated shows right now.
It looks cheap. I don't like cheap. It's look, you make me want to choose between a high-end prostitute on Vegas or the cheap one down the fucking road in the middle of nowhere.
Both of them were prostitutes.
Exactly.
They'll still
but one needs
they'll
a
both
daily
give you the reach around.
But one needs a daily shot, the other one doesn't.
Yes. Sean gets it.
One needs a penicillin shot at the end of the night, the other one doesn't.
Anthony here saying now we have to wait 5 years for Invincible season. I don't think so.
And guess what? You not only are you going to wait 5 years, you're going to wait 5 years, and then it's going to get split up into 3 different fucking parts. 3 episodes.
I don't think that'll
each.
happen again.
I don't think they'll Harry Potter.
No,
this one.
they will 100% because
Harry
that's how they fucking
Potter.
operate.
Potter.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll do it the same way again because I think they're going to get a lot of
giving
bad
me a
feedback
suck.
from that.
They don't know what to fucking do with that show. They don't know how to release it right. So yeah.
Yeah, they're figuring it out, but I'm still enjoying it.
Look,
Good.
I even saw their little cameo from Josh Keaton. I was like, oh, that's cute. But
They
it's
had a
still
lot of
not.
fun moments.
Yeah,
In
I'm
fact,
sure.
like first and foremost,
Mm.
I don't care about the specific thing, but I thought it was fun that they did it. So, Invincible characters have been featured as like skins in Fortnite recently, which I've never
Oh,
played it. I don't
God.
care. But in the last episode they had, they briefly show. So in the story, Angstrom Levy like teleports things to like different dimensions, and so he does the same thing to Mark. And after Mark comes back from one of them, he hits him over the head with a specific rifle
Yeah.
that is seen in Fortnite.
Oh.
And so it is now basically canon that Invincible has been to the Fortnite universe, which is like fun for people who care.
Money.
If you could turn me off more to that show any way, shape, or form, that did it.
It's like 2 seconds.
That fucking did it. I have no desire to watch that show now.
Hey, I don't care about
my
Fortnite,
God.
but I thought it was funny that they did it.
That's stupid.
Anyway,
That's just
that's a multiverse right there. That's pretty...
the Fortnite verse.
Fortnite verse.
There you go.
Fortnite verse.
That's
No.
dumb. Sorry, but
They did have a good homage to Batman without saying Batman. They did all sorts of fun stuff with that.
Well,
cool.
Mark and Omni-Man are basically riffs on Superman and Spider-Man, so sure, why not? Let's go ahead and riff Batman and Spider-Man more while we're at it, right?
Well, they made it to where he like visited the universe of Batman and didn't say his name, but he's like, "So you're a guy dressed like a bat, and you're called? Isn't that a bit of lazy?" Like that kind of joke. Of course, they paid homage to The Walking Dead, which also happens in the books. I'm trying to think what else they did with that episode, but yeah, no, it's.
I can sum it up for you. I can sum it up for you in 2 words. Seriously, just give me 1 second. It's 2 words. It's 2 words. 2 simple words. 2 very easy, simple words.
Oh my gosh.
Well, actually, it's more like 3.
Oh my God, I don't care. I do not. I don't care.
It was way more than 2 or 3 words.
It was the
It was
same
on repeat.
3
It
words
was on
repeating.
Okay, all right, fine. I'll shut up about it then. Phil.
No one cares. No one cares. Do you care? No. Do you care?
You guys got any Benadryl?
See? No one cares.
I need Benadryl. I need Benadryl after hearing you talk about that fucking show. I'm kidding.
I'm
Clearly.
fine. Whatever.
Clearly, I'm kidding. Wait, do I have Benadryl? Hold on. I might actually have Benadryl.
What is
Here
this?
you go.
Oh, Omni-Man.
Here
There
you
you
go.
go.
It's just for you, Phil. Just for you. Think, Phil.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I'm thinking real hard about how much Superman would clown Omni-Man in 2.5 seconds flat because Robert Kirkman is wrong.
I mean, Omni-Man's more ruthless. He wouldn't care. He wouldn't hold back.
Yeah, Superman's Superman, and when Superman's pushed to a limit, he will fucking kill. So,
But, well, he gets that limit before Omni-Man destroys him.
oh please, Omni-Man wouldn't destroy Superman. That's bullshit, and you know it.
Yes, the game's
Yeah,
beginning.
right. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, what do we step into?
Like, what are we talking about?
I'm sorry, what the fuck?
So in other news, the movie Captain America Civil War turned 10 years old the other day.
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Winter
What did I
Soldier.
say?
Civil
You
War.
said Civil War.
Oh, I'm sorry, Winter Soldier. Sorry, Winter
Oh
Soldier.
my god! I can't believe you'd make such a.
Your comic nerd car is under review.
Oh
It was a simple slip of
my
the tongue.
God.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier. I am sorry.
No. Hold on. Where is it? Where the fuck is it?
Whatever.
Ooh.
It's hard to believe though. It's been 10 years since that film's come
Yeah,
out.
you know what I was
It's hard
talking
to
about.
believe. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's up here. It's on the top. It's in the title.
Yeah.
Hold on. This is for you,
And
Dawson.
Shame on you! Ugly baby judges you!
Shame on you. Shame on you for fucking mixing up Civil War and Winter Soldier. Shame on you.
You know what I meant. Anyways,
It's by far I'd say by far my favorite film of the MCU.
it's probably the best
Yeah.
quality-wise. Of
Oh,
the
sure.
MCU.
Yeah. Winter
It's my
Soldier's
number
awesome.
3.
Aside from Iron Man 1.
It's my number 3.
Number 3.
Incredible Hulk is great. The first one with Edward Norton. I mean,
Yep.
that
The
was
only
great.
one.
That's not the Winter Soldier, Ryan.
What?
You brought up Incredible Hulk out of nowhere. We're talking about Winter
He
Soldier.
brought up Iron Man, so I was like, no, Incredible Hulk. I think
Oh,
Incredible
okay.
Hulk is a bit better than Iron Man as far as.
Fair
I do
enough.
really like it.
I like Iron Man, but I think I just watched that like last week.
Yeah, Incredible Hulk is
I don't watch it as much as Joker. I watch that twice a month.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
Winter Soldier is my
Yeah. I ugly baby will probably judge me. I probably watch Joker probably 2-3 times a week.
Oh,
since it's been out.
Hey, you have that much time?
Yeah. I will.
I don't
Yeah, I
have
do,
that much
actually.
time to watch that
I-
kind of media.
Dude, I don't have kids. I don't have to deal with any of that type of stuff.
You don't got no kids?
no kids, homie. No
Oh,
kids.
man.
I
You're the
got
one
I
on this
got
panel that's got kids, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm down to 3 dogs and that's it.
Okay. Wow.
No kids.
no kiddos.
There was a time where that was the plan, and then as I was around my nieces and nephews more, I realized this probably isn't for me. Yeah. I'll be the fun uncle.
Hey, that's a fun role too.
Respect.
And
The fun uncle is the best uncle.
Yeah, and I'm good. 4 or 5 hours. Hey, time to go back home.
Yep.
Oh, I gotta go. I'm
leaving you guys to do the difficult part.
Oh, shitty diaper. Yeah, me shitting out the door. Goodbye.
Yep. Well, that's me. Like whenever I go and visit my older brother, he's got 2 little kids. His little boy just loves me. He'll like wake me up at like 5:30 in the morning to play Legos, and I'm just like, let me sleep a little bit. I'll have some cereal with you, and then we'll play Legos, okay? And anyway, whenever I leave, he's just like, oh.
Okay, every other drop before that was actually worthwhile. That was useless. Go on, Dawson.
Yeah, Ryan, shut the hell up. Anyways, Winter Soldier
anecdote.
Yeah, Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
great
about
film.
my nephew. It's a fun story. You can shut it.
You know what? There's going to come a time when you get to show your nephew Winter Soldier.
Yes,
and it will be an AMC classic.
Yes.
Kevin,
what's up? G Cool's in the house.
We're gonna turn over to AMC. What's AMC? Uncle Dawson. This is where we watch the classic films.
Mm-hmm.
Winter Soldier's on tonight.
After this is Man of Steel. Oh man,
and then Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Speaking of Man of Steel, anyone care to give their opinions on the new Superman emblem that was shown?
But it's the same logo though, right?
Yeah, we'd already seen it. I'm confused because like people are like, oh, it's revealed. It's like we saw it already.
Yeah, I know, right? It's
oh
my god.
I'm saying revealed in this way because it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't look like what we saw from the brief angle of the suit that we've seen.
Here's
and do you agree with how this was revealed? Because I've noticed the comparison across the social medias is when you had Henry Lennox do like that brief talk over and they revealed the Batman v Superman logo, the response to that versus the response to this. And of course, everyone's doing the comparison of this to Henry's Superman logo. So
what are they saying? The only thing I know is Peter Safran was at a podium. That's all I know.
Well, I mean, they're going so far as picking it apart as parts of the symbol don't align, like especially on parts of the S. Some parts are. I mean, they're getting down to this nitty gritty. I wish I would have saved the post where, well, the top part is, I'll just use an example, is 1.5 inches, but then the side and bottom parts only 3/4 of an inch, so it doesn't look symmetric. It doesn't look like an S. And I mean, they're really going after this new.
Who is?
Oh no, I'm just talking about across the social media. Like I said, I didn't save.
Have they never seen Alex Ross's symbol before?
I don't think so. They probably don't know who Alex Ross
I mean, that's probably the reason why what's his name, James Gunn chose it, was because it's starkly different than anybody's seen. They're like, oh, this is a different Superman, and this is the way that it's a completely different S or whatever the hell.
Correct, and as I mentioned, I don't think a lot of people would know Alex Ross's work and his designs unless you're really into this world, right? I mean, they're going to go off a point of reference of Christopher, Brandon, or Henry's symbols. And
Brandon was on CW with it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, both the black and red version and black and yellow version.
Yeah. So I mean, they have been
red and yellow,
black
and yellow.
Sorry, yeah, red and yellow,
and black and red. Yes,
my brain's just tired today.
Ralph wore both the black and red and the yellow and red version of the Kingdom Come symbol.
They made a big deal of like, why do you have black in the logo? That's depressing. It's like,
I mean,
who the frick cares?
You know what? I'm with Cortez. I'm not much of a Peter Safran fan either. But and I'll just leave it at that because there are some things that I know about that guy where I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not exactly a fan of you, so no thanks.
I don't care too much for him either.
Yeah, me either. Like that guy's. He's been trying real hard to play like damage control over DCPR since 2018, and every time it's just like, buddy, you don't know jack shit about comic book films, so I would just kind of take a step back and mind your business if I was you.
So this comment is interesting. Yeah, right here. Ryan, you need to look into this, man. They're coming after you.
I can make some money
for you.
I can make some money. Yeah, I know, right there, baby. Right there. They got. I was like, damn it. Me and I'd already talked to Alex the other day.
I'm telling you, man, that could pay for that printer you're looking to get.
I
Make them pay for it.
That and some paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, like whenever I've seen so many posts today where it's like, what do you think of the new logo that they unveiled? It's like, we already knew what it looks like. Like, I don't understand why this is a big deal.
We know what it looks like. But
even then, like, you get a pretty good look at it on the
attention
social media post, so it's not like they got much of a better view except for just straight on.
It's
so
like
where did they play this at? Like
CinemaCon.
Oh, well, then there you go. So they're like, oh, no, nobody's on X.
So here's the thing: we saw the logo on a suit. Now we're seeing it for promotional purposes. BFD, big.
Yeah. No. It wasn't just the suit. It was on the back of the chairs.
Okay, again,
those cards. It was there too, right?
Big.
Yeah.
Fucking deal. Big deal. BFD. And I'm not even like saying that to diminish what you're saying. I'm just saying like people are getting so, oh my God, look, it's a new Superman logo. And it's like, this is not news. This logo has been fucking out in the open since 1996. Why are we getting excited? Oh, James Gunn's making a fucking Superman movie. Yes, no shit. We've known this for like the last year. He is making a new Superman movie. We fucking know this. Oh, it's gonna be so great. Based on what?
Yeah.
Based on what information exactly? Because he keeps taking pictures next to fucking action figures of Christopher Reeve? Because he keeps talking about Superman the movie? Because he keeps making a social media post about Superman every fucking day he's making this movie? I'm tired of it. Just let the man make the fucking movie, or better yet, get off social media, make your fucking movie. How about that? That would make me, as a Superman fan, a lot more tolerable to the Superman movie that you're making, because honestly, all this Fox hype and all this, oh, James Gunn's gonna save DC, bullshit. Bullshit. You want to know why I'm saying bullshit? Because we've been fed this narrative for the last 6 years. So-and-so is going to save DC. Yeah, Jeff Johns is going to save DC. Walter Hamada is going to save DC. David Zaslav is going to save DC. Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca are going to save DC. Now it's James Gunn's going to save DC. Get the fuck out of here with that nonsensical fanboy bullshit.
Like, the only way that James Gunn's Superman will quote-unquote save DC, if he even say that it could do that, is if it's like a perfect Superman movie.
And here's the thing. DC doesn't need saving. It's a fucking 80-year-old brand that's still thriving to this day through comics, through animation. He's just the new guy in charge. He'll be out within 4 to 8 years, if that. And if his Superman if his Superman movie is a bust, he'll be out sooner.
Well, his contract is up next year. He only signed a 4-year contract, and that ends next
2026.
year. 2026.
2026. He signed on in 22, so therefore his 4-year contract would be up in 26.
I thought he signed out a year before. I thought it was 2021. So, well, doesn't Superman comes out in 25, right?
25.
Correct. So I think that could be, hey,
but then
we'll extend this
Brave
contract,
and the Bold,
or we're not extending your contract. Have a nice day.
26.
Wait, what? Brave and the Bold? They haven't dated it.
Oh, no date. Okay.
The only movie that has a date is Superman. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. So much to what you were saying is like, that's the only reason that people are talking about it, because they're looking for something to it's kind of like what Mr. Incredible was saying, is just like he's not graduating, he's going from the kindergarten to the first grade. He's they try to make something bigger out of something that is just it doesn't hold any water, because they're just like, oh yeah, DC is not where Marvel was, and they're not thriving, and I just watched Aquaman 2. And
neither one of them are thriving. Like from a box office standpoint, neither one of them are thriving at the moment, right? Like neither one of them.
But DC hasn't had a constant outpouring of just hits like Marvel had.
Nope.
And so they're like, yeah, no, DC just kind of needs to sort of have their own string of hits or whatever, and they could have, but we're not there anymore. What's up, Jason? But that's why people make such a big deal about nonsensical or non-issues, is that they're just like it's that goalpost moving. It's like like Phil was saying earlier, it's going to be Kylar, then there's going to be DeLuca and Zaslav, and just whoever, and now Gunn and whatever, and that whole litany of people, because they just keep saying, oh, this person's going to do it, this person's going to do it, this person's going to do it, and it's just that sort of like, well, we haven't had a successful anything yet. Last thing that was successful as far as like something that was well made and well put together was Blue Beetle. Other than that, I haven't seen anything really good from DC that's come out. They've had snippets of like I watched Aquaman 2. There was some fun stuff in that, but overall it was kind of a mess.
The last overtly profitable film they made was The Batman.
Right.
That was the last.
Well, that's easy because Batman is
okay,
killer.
but still the point stands. Like that is before that it was Joker, and before that it was Aquaman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Aquaman, the only reason why that made so much money, it was just because of the IMAX spectacle of going to see a live aquarium before the whole what was that, Avatar. Before that, because that's why I went. I went to the IMAX because I wanted to see all that shit on the big screen.
International audience,
and it was a fun
that
movie.
fucking movie.
Oh
up,
yeah.
Too.
Yes.
Well, and I think the reason Joker and the Batman
spectacle.
were successful is because they went against the grain of what we've ever seen for those
Yes.
characters before.
Yes,
that's the only reason. Not
And
the
I think
only
it
reason,
came
but
out
that was a
relatively-
good core reason why they were successful.
The Joker
was
came
we
out
never
relatively
connected.
close to the Venom movie, right?
They
Was it
were
the same year.
no, they were a year apart.
A year apart. Okay.
Year apart.
But I mean, it was different, and it was, and the Snyderverse was at that point in time still being fought for, struggling. They're still trying to like figure shit out or whatever, and they're like, here's something like same thing like the Batman. Here's something non-DCU, here or DCU EU or whatever you want to call it. Here's something outside of that, so you don't have to worry about connectivity. You don't have to worry about continuity. It's just something else that you can enjoy. And I think people were like, oh, breath of fresh air. I don't have to worry about the studio fucking things up.
I think between Joker and the Batman, fans finally realized we don't really want the same kind of comic book movies. We just want good stories. It's like, oh, now you want a good story, huh? Okay, cool beans.
Well, and you don't need this broad, massive universe where everything has to connect to everything, and everyone has to cameo in everyone's in order for it to all tie together and make sense. You don't.
Yeah, I think people are.
You can have
tired.
You can have siloed stories, good stories told, where they just stand on their own.
Well, I always thought
characters to come in.
What could be really cool, and just taking Henry Cavill for example, is you could have had him playing in a Superman movie. And then you could have had him in another movie as a different type of Superman, that just fit that movie or fit that story.
Yeah.
And just completely different. It's a different actor. He could act a different way. He's a thespian. He could be a different version of Clark in different mediums. Or they could, they which would be kind of weird, but they could have multiple people playing the same character, but in different they could do Gotham by Gaslight in live action, and then they could do Batman Beyond in the same fucking year, or and you don't have to have the same Batman who's playing old man Bruce and then the Batman from overseas, or they could do the whole Superman, the Russian Superman,
Red Sun.
You could do that in a different version. It could be Henry Cavill, and he could have they could say, hey, we'll have you have a a Russian accent, and that would be interesting and different, and it would be a different vibe and a different director. But as long as the story is sound, as long as the movie is solid, then I say fucking do it. I think that's awesome, But it's that whole like, okay, no, we have to have all this connectivity. And James Gunn said, okay, now not only will the actors be the actors on the silver screen, they'll also be the actors that are behind the voices of the video games,
animation,
and animations, and all that. And he's now bind himself to this to less creativity. Versus
to that point, I asked the question, what are you going to do when someone can't make the schedule, James? You're inevitably going to have to recast for that instance for an animated project. Or what if someone doesn't feel that they are getting compensated enough for said animated project? You better have it in their contract that they're going to get at least a base sum pay per project they do. Otherwise, this whole idea of, oh, this person's going to be this character for this version and that animated movie, and then this live action film or this live action series, and then this animated series, it's like the pay and hours is all very different. So
I think one thing that's interesting about this is that, like, you look at the scope of what's happening with comic book movies, like nowadays, for me at least, I get the sense that the more interconnected things are, the more exhausting it is to the audience. The mind kind of is turned off to that idea. It's like they want more cohesive stories, more interesting stories, rather than things all just needing to connect. It's kind of similar to what I've seen a lot with the comic scene, where all these comics, all these different stories connecting and overlapping and everything, people kind of get tired and therefore kind of drift more to independent stories because there's an end goal in sight. There's an idea, there's a story to tell. And so I think we're seeing a similar trajectory in that way, where people are just more interested in seeing a fun story or a well-told story rather than things just connecting to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and then sidestepping a story here is like, I don't know. That's just what I'm seeing.
Well, I think Ryan or Phil mentioned this in a couple of weeks ago, in obviously a different episode, where you shouldn't have to watch 3 TV shows, 8 movies to understand what this next movie that's coming out is going to be about or who's going to be in it. You shouldn't.
Right. You shouldn't have to watch Kathleen Kennedy talk about fucking shit at Disney.
And I think that's where
to find out what the fuck's going on in Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah, and I think that's where I know the phrase of comic book movie fatigue was like a buzz phrase for a while. But maybe the question is there a fatigue of just having this broad connectivity across the spectrum of these universes, right?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You have people that that sort of feel a little overwhelmed with like, okay, if I want to get into this or I want to watch this,
exactly. Where do I start?
And if I watch this, am I going to fucking understand it? You know, do I have to have a foreknowledge of what has happened before in other movies, even though I haven't seen those other movies? My friends want to go to this movie and they want to watch it with me. I want to watch it with my friends, but am I going to go in there like, lost?
Well, real quick on that point, like if someone came to any of you on out of the blue, has no exposure to MCU movies, TV, nothing. Are you going to, and they said, where do I start with? What do you suggest I start with? Are you going to tell them, well, here, go on the internet, search the timeline, and that's the order you need to watch everything in? Or are you going to pick out drips and drabs, say, hey, these are the ones you really want to focus on. These other ones, yeah, you can go back and watch them, but they're either not that great. They bring no value to the overall story, so you can skip over them.
I'll just recommend which ones are my favorite. Which ones I think are the most
I would ask them what they're interested in.
What's that?
I would ask them what they're like. Well, what sort of comic book, No,
they have no exposure. They're coming brand new into this. Like,
then I would say definitely Superman 1978. Yeah, definitely.
from a
if they don't know anything about comic book movies,
no, I'm talking about.
We're talking about like MCU. If someone's like getting the MCU and they want to start watching these movies, I just tell them Iron Man 1, The Incredible Hulk, Captain America: First Avenger, Captain America: Winter Soldier.
You're not going to recommend Civil War?
Shut up.
I would.
And then let's see what else. Like maybe the
Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that's not MCU. Well, I guess technically.
Yes, it is.
I corrected myself. Yeah, I mean, like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movies. Like, I'd recommend which ones I think are the best made and are most interesting, contained in themselves.
Yeah.
Rather than like tell them like, hey, watch it in this order. So you're
you just said something there. Contained within themselves.
Yes.
Right. So let's go back to where it started from. You have the movie like the Joker, the Batman. They're self-contained films. They're self-contained stories.
That could continue, but don't need to. And
correct. We don't need this broad universe to help the audience understand what's going on. Go tell me a good story, with good actors, a good cinema, and I'll be happy as a customer.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom line.
Exactly.
So,
but with that, we are now over the 2-hour mark.
Wow, we've gone over.
I know. Gosh. Pay deduced. Deducted, whatever it is. Gosh,
pay the dues. Dividends, sure, whatever.
Anyway, my brain's so tired. Oh my gosh, I'm still recovering from driving 15 hours.
He needs a nap.
15 hours.
He needs some milk.
He needs some milk. Not even kidding. Someone's probably gonna play a clip that they don't care about this. But the other day I was craving like chocolate milk so bad. I went to the grocery store and got like 2 little bottles of it.
Oh, nice. Anyway. I like chocolate milk.
Yeah, I just needed it. It was like Men in Black 3, where it's like I need some chocolate milk. Gosh dang it! But no, I got
get out of here with that mouth.
What was Fair
Life
Faucet?
Yeah, Fairlife milk. Yeah, that's good stuff.
I thought he was going to say. I was thinking Farrah Fawcett as well.
No, Farrah
Like,
Fawcett.
is that who you saw?
I'm like, is that who he's talking about?
Oh,
must be a
he's talking about
must be a
Fairlife.
generational gap here.
Farrelly brothers?
You
The
think?
two older guys are thinking Farrah Fawcett.
oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah, that pretty much covers all the topics we wanted to cover here today. Did anyone have anything to add before we close out? Any
No.
cool stuff to promote or anything, or anything cool coming up?
Not particularly, my friend.
Next Wednesday's Andre and I next Wednesday watch party. Next episode of X-Men 97.
Nice.
There you go.
We'll have the pre-show 30 minutes before it starts. We'll switch over to X and Twitch for the episode, and then we'll come back to YouTube for the wrap up
Nice.
and reaction every
Huge.
Wednesday until the season ends.
There you go.
Nice. I'll show you guys a commission that I actually finished. Well, actually not finished. I still have some small stuff to do that I did today.
Ooh,
This is
look at that.
Aricia Green Lantern.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Pull up
All
mine
right.
screen a little bit.
Very cool.
Yeah, getting some good negative space use here. Get the little Green Lantern
I like
symbol.
the green accents
What
around
is
the
that?
black.
What's under her right
That's a
leg?
shooting star.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Space. Got the stars going on there. Yeah, I got that, and then I'll show this off. I actually drew this when I was on Dave Pena's stream the other day. I needed to draw some Batfleck. Hadn't drawn Batfleck in a while. Here's
Oh,
a scan
cool.
of this.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm having a. I asked a inker that I know to give it a try inking it because I just want to see what he'd do with it. So we'll see.
What is quiz?
That is the Latin phrase for who watches The Watchmen, as seen on a pillar in BVS. I put it on the
Oh,
wall.
okay. I didn't see the other stuff under it.
Yeah, quiz something impos. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, that's the basic idea. And then of course I got Comic-Con this weekend in Chantilly, Virginia. So that'll be fun. Hopefully, still some plenty of good stuff. Is that all we got?
Think so.
Well,
That's all
I
I got
attempted-
going on.
And Craig and I recorded an episode last night for the Eternal Night, but then my audio got all fucked up, so we have to record it again.
Oh man,
That
Yeah.
sucks.
I was so pissed.
Like the file got corrupted, or like
No. So what happened was my audio settings were off, and it captured the audio from Craig, but it muted it. So I had to go back in and angle the fucking settings, and now it's capturing the audio again. And now I'm just like, great. Now I have to record a whole hour and 15-minute conversation all over again.
Well, hey, you have a memory to pull from now.
Right. Right.
Anyway, with that, we always appreciate everyone tuning in. We appreciate Andre for stopping by for a little bit, taking a break from helping out his family a little bit. So I hope you all have a great week, nerd-filled week, all books, movies, whatever. Of course, appreciate everybody here on the panel. Good buddies, good friends. Always appreciate the good conversation. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.